by kindness of Lufat. Remember, this show is made possible by Awake Purified Mineral Water, chocolate paint, and Adonku Next Level Energy Drink.
Yes, let me read a message I got when I asked, what is your experience with self-medication? Because that's a conversation we'll be having in 24 minutes on the health segment with Lufat. I almost became paralyzed when I administered an injection on my thigh. It's a miracle I'm walking straight. Say no to self-medication. This is Nana Ikua Osei Donina, whose experience with self-medication isn't that great. And then Inshiraba Gifty says, those commenting are from Ghana. Which home didn't have a mother who was always the unprofessional nurse to administer medication to us? Who doesn't take para for headache on his or her own these days, in those days? We were even better off. Now, even after going to the hospital, you come home with complications.
That's serious.
50. So, two different experiences. What's your experience with self-medication? Send us a WhatsApp on 055-556.
Does it include my grandmother's aboniki?
Yes. And even tobacco. My grandma took tobacco and passed out. Look, my grandma went as high as a kite and she just passed out.
Must have been tobacco.
We were pouring water on Mama. Mama, no, Mama, no, Mama, Mama, Mama. When she woke up, she said, where am I?
You're still at home.
And then the next day, she called me. She said, enough, you're Tama now.
Go buy more. Oh no, don't buy anymore.
She was hooked on Tama.
Don't buy more.
So self-medication is not good. All right, so we'll have a session on that.
You've already made you've made your call already.
Yes.
We are asking a question: is it a good practice? But in your opinion, it's
no, my grandma.
Well, we'll have the expert here who will also share their view. I doubt they will go differently from what you've said.
An 80-year-old woman who's knocked out high. She was high and she
as a kite,
higher than a rocket. And she was gone.
The rocket.
On this old lady.
Valerie is higher as a rocket.
Charlie, Grandma Nukuno, you rest in peace. Please forgive me, Mama Nukuno. Been resting for now since 1988. But forgive me, I have to say this. Charlie, she was high.
Valerie, you never know where Cap is going with these things.
I don't know, high, man. She was high. Charlie, she coma.
You know what freaked me out? When she said, call you again, said, bring me more.
And very quietly.
Just go and buy more.
I used to walk from South Labadi to La to go and buy tobacco for this baby. They used to wrap it in some small rubbers, and my mom take it and then she just go high, man. She's
you know, in these days we would say don't send children to even buy snacks.
My grandma didn't
don't send children to buy cigarettes, alcohol, none of that. Because now we are very politically correct, so we try to be.
She was knocked out.
Back then.
The water we pour on this old lady.
Ghana would have bring your bill. Valerie, what should we expect from your side today?
Right. So with my team, Jay and Alan, will be looking at traffic, what traffic looks like. It's to blame for all the laughter there. We'll be looking at traffic, what traffic looks like in different parts of the capital. We'll also be keeping an eye on some things as well, things that are bothering the ordinary Ghanaian. And so if you want our team to come to your area, or you have videos or some things that you want us to shed light on, kindly we encourage you to send us messages on our WhatsApp number, which is 055-556-1034, and on our social media handles. We are live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, live on YouTube as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We are interactive on Twitter and Instagram. We encourage you to send your videos and your comments. And later on, the site is sponsored by Airtel Tigo. My site, which is a lifestyle segment. On Tuesdays, we unearth talents, what we usually like to call underground artists or rising artists. And so today we'll be talking to one such artist and find out why he's still unearthed. And then on Tuesdays, GBC in collaboration with UNICEF, we discuss things that affect adolescent reproductive health. And so today we'll be looking at that and speaking to some resource persons and experts on adolescents. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. I'm going to hand over to T and Kaf. Kaf, the guy who buys things for his grandma to get high.
Yeah, my grandma.
Don't send your grandchildren to buy you.
Never. I've never sent her to buy beer or anything like that. And the grandma was.
But you don't have grandkids either. Now you have.
No, I have kids now.
Otherwise, the boys would have been very active.
Exactly. And she has this trick. She says, when you're sending a child, don't look into the child's face, because sometimes they have resistance.
I would have loved to meet your grandma.
Yeah, go and buy some tobacco for me, and then you are angry because you have to walk from South Labadi to La. So she doesn't look at you.
It reminds me of something a former boss of us of ours used to say that I don't look at your face when I'm assigning.
No. Just send you, Charlie. Charlie, she was high.
Don't do that.
Anyway.
Don't do that. But I mean, let's start off our day right, and we have our wisdom nugget coming right up. Remember, we are live on Facebook and we are also live on YouTube. Follow our social media handles. Let's get interactive. What's trending on your side? Let's listen to the good doctor, and then a quick stop at the weather desk, and then we'll be back to look into the trends. Yes. And we'll be back.
From Dr. Kofi Osei, he says 6 degrees of separation. That's the title for today's wisdom nugget. Don't get high.
What a brilliant morning to come your way again with a wisdom nugget for your day. And nugget a day keeps all the problems away. And we keep learning, and we keep, embracing more and more of wisdom so that our lives can get better and easier, and we can grow in success. And I thank you for your feedback, and we're excited here on the Breakfast Show as we share incredible nuggets of wisdom just to spice up your day. Today we're talking about the subject that I entitled the 6 degrees of separation. 6 degrees of separation. Have you heard about this phenomenon called the 6 degrees of separation? It's a really interesting one, and it's been backed up by research. What does the 6 degrees of separation mean? It means that you are only 6 people away from every single person on the face of the earth. And so you are only 6 people away from every single person on the face of the earth. It means that you're no more than 6 people away from anyone that you ever want to meet. You know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows the President of the United States. You know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows the biggest chief or king in the world that you ever want to meet. You are no more than 6 people away from anyone on the face of the earth. That is such a powerful truth, because one of the biggest complaints you hear from many people is that, oh, I don't know anyone. Oh, I'm not getting this opportunity because I don't know anyone. There's a help you need, or there is, some sort of facility you need, some sort of opportunities you're looking for, and you're wondering how you can meet the person that you really want to meet. But the truth of life is that you're only 6 people away from anybody else. What that tells you and I is the incredible need to treat people around you right. Not too long ago, I was speaking at this major event, and one of the speakers was there, and very simple looking person, and we engaged, and we exchanged contact, and I endeavored to set up a meeting, and we had a meeting on Zoom and so on, and this is an international person, but it didn't look so unassuming. And here's the point I want to make. After engaging the person for some time, I discovered that this person that I was sitting next to was only 2 persons away from the president of another country. Only 2 people away. I didn't know. This person is related with someone who is very close to the president of a country. So just imagine the way I treated that person and the way I treat this person. You don't need to know how connected somebody is to be able to treat that person right. The truth is that every single person is connected. It may be just an ordinary person hawking on the street. You need to treat that person right. It may be a waiter in a restaurant. You need to treat that person right. It may be a security guard. You need to treat that person right. I heard a story about this gentleman who was, a driver. And he met a banker, and the banker was sharing the story. And long and short of it was that when this gentleman walked into the bank, nobody in the banking hall wanted to attend to this guy because, you can imagine, I think he was sweating and all of that. But this guy just walked to him, this banker walked to him and received him and treated him right. And guess what? 3 days later, he discovered that this gentleman was a driver and his boss was a wealthy man. And they just I think, transferred over $3 million into the bank. And this guy was working with his target and was looking for someone to meet that target. It's the way you treat people and how you don't judge people too quickly. You are only about 6 people away from any person you want to meet, any person you want to relate with. It may even be a relationship. It's so important that you keep that in mind. We treat people right. We master the art of working with people and dealing with people. And in fact, we even grow in what we call emotional intelligence, being able to relate with people emotionally correctly and being able to understand people's feelings and relate appropriately with people. And so I want to challenge you to keep in mind as you go through today, the 6 degrees of separation. Who do you want to meet? What opportunities are you looking for in life? That opportunity is connected to the closest person sitting next to you. So at home, whoever is around you right now, look at that person again and tell yourself that this person is very important to me, so I'm going to treat this person right. Have a fabulous day and do treat people in an amazing way as you meet them today and for every single day of this week, of the year, and of your life. Enjoy yourself and keep growing as you learn and as you listen to these wisdom nuggets for your day.
Thanks for staying on. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on GTV. Follow us on our social media handles. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, all verified accounts. This show is made possible by Awake Purified Mineral Water, Shoulder Acrylic Paint, and Adunko Next Level Energy Drink. And Kaf's grandmother is certainly next level.
Oh, she's smiling.
But you see, away from issues of tobacco and snuffs and all that, there's a big question, and it's to do with whether or not COVID-19 vaccinations should be compulsory. Sami Jemfi, who is Communications Director of the NDC, feels differently. He says COVID-19 vaccination must be by choice and not by force. So this follows the issuing of additional guidelines on traveling Ghanaians out of the country and into the country concerning the new variant of the COVID-19 virus, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is saying on his social media, vaccination must be by choice and not by force. The imposition of compulsory COVID vaccination requirement on all Ghanaians traveling into and out of Ghana by the Ghana Health Service is condemnable and an affront to the 1992 Constitution.
Okay, so we have a sound bite because of 3FM. That
Okay.
will play
So
on YouTube.
3FM has this audio, and let's listen to it and we'll be back.
We allow this.
No, but this is a different regime. This is a pandemic of
Is it the first pandemic?
global
There's been
magnitude.
several pandemics before COVID-19.
Yes, but we've
vaccines were not forced on people.
But this is a magnitude.
What magnitude?
Unseen in the modern
What is
era.
what is the fatality rate of COVID-19? Less than 2%.
But
Ebola had a fatality rate of 8%.
But 5 million people, that is the population
my dear,
of
that is
Accra
a-
entirely.
that
So
is- that is
imagine
a
the entire
How many deaths in
population
Ghana?
of Accra
How many deaths in
being
Ghana?
lost.
1,200.
1,200.
In the last 1 and something years.
Yes,
Do you know how
sir.
many people malaria has killed within that period?
Nobody
And
says
the number of people other
nobody
diseases
says
have killed.
malaria is not
So,
important, and now there is even a
it
malaria
can be
vaccine.
an emergency. Is the malaria vaccine malaria which kills more people than COVID? Is it compulsory? Is it compulsory? Why is it that as for COVID-19, the vaccine which has not been
So heated argument between Sami Jemfi and that 3FM reporter. In that sound you just heard, and it's a conversation that's still ongoing, and people are asking questions about whether or not they should be compelled by law, by officialdom, by authorities to get vaccinated. Remember, Ghana Health Service has named December Ghana's vaccination month.
So all this noise will be turned into silence when a law is passed, an executive instrument is passed, which mandates you to do this, because everything will happen by law. There will have to be a reference to a particular instrument. And I spoke with Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji yesterday about the legality of these issues. And he says that when a law is passed, it's passed. I mean, these are not normal times. And so if the law says you have to do this when you're leaving or coming in, you have to go by the law. Otherwise, and he knows too well. He's a lawyer. So he will know very well that it is a law. You can't break the law. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I also remember that even with the imposition of the restriction on movement of persons, a law had to be passed in Parliament to give the President the power to be able to do that in the pandemic situation that we found ourselves in sometime in March last year.
Yeah, he made reference, the video referenced him saying, comparing it to malaria. But malaria, you cannot transfer malaria to somebody. Exactly. You cannot catch malaria by coughing. By coughing, you cannot catch malaria in the air. So I think that's a wrong comparison. I mean, hey.
Good points.
And if remember that if cough, assuming cough is asymptomatic, and I am not, and he's a carrier, imagine the number of people he could infect.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. You cannot compare COVID to malaria. Even if malaria is killing more people.
The fatality rates are higher for malaria than COVID.
I mean, we cannot catch malaria when somebody coughs. We cannot catch malaria by just walking. We cannot catch malaria by touching surfaces. So I think that's not the right comparison.
Yes.
My
mosquito
opinion.
needs to be intimate with you before you get malaria.
No, that comparison, I mean, hey. I mean, this is, it's killing people.
Big time.
Have we done enough?
Well,
have we done enough to make sure that people have the right information, people have the hesitancy rates reduced?
Look, as at now, with Omicron here and all that's going on, people, educated people, are still saying that COVID isn't real. But we also saw the devastating numbers in other countries, the European countries, Italy, Spain. We saw, I mean, people were being carried away in coffins. The cemeteries were full, the morgues were full, people had to be burnt. So, hey, I mean, this is Ghana, where we also have challenges when it comes to our healthcare. So I think it's best we protect ourselves before the numbers get... I mean, hey, come on, you can't compare COVID to malaria.
I can feel this close to home, because an uncle of mine and his wife passed away within 3 days of each other.
Look, I lost two people. We lost two people in our family on the same day, COVID. So you can't say COVID, you can't compare COVID to malaria.
No.
I mean, yes, there are certain rules to follow and regulations, but I think we should wait for the law to properly spell it out. But sitting out there on a television station or a radio station where we are actually begging people to even go out and get vaccinated, people who do not understand what's going on, and then somebody who is as educated as this says this, I don't know where he's coming from, but I don't think you should compare malaria to COVID.
Thank you.
Simple.
Okay, so something we can all agree on is football. Don't we all just love football? And last week I was not here, so give it to me straight.
No. You made
up the draw.
No, because we were kicked out.
Oh,
okay. All right.
Is that why you didn't come last?
Is that why you didn't come?
And yesterday?
And yesterday.
No.
Okay, right. Then.
Tell us about it.
What's happening?
I wanted to put you in hot waters, and obviously you were, because all the calls you kept. Thelma, just come back to hello, Thelma. Just when are you coming back?
You know your sports
Thelma, just come back to work.
Look
So these are all the teams that made it to the round of 16. Barcelona is not in there because you know, Bayern Munich saw that, so 2 years in a row. So all the teams that made it to the round of 16, Salzburg, Bayern, versus Wolves, Bayern, Sporting Portugal, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola's Chargers. Is that Ajax?
Yes, Ajax and some other teams.
Okay, because I saw the eagle, I figured.
Ajax on the right.
Chelsea
versus Lille. Yes.
There's
Chelsea versus
you see
Lille.
all these because Barca is not there.
The badges don't even make sense to you. Atletico versus Man U.
There are teams I know by their labels. There are others I do not know.
So Salzburg.
So all the pairings that we're seeing.
This Sporting Man City.
We should expect some exciting football.
Benfica,
Which ones are you looking forward to?
Let's go through and see. Benfica, Ajax. Then you have Chelsea and Lille.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have Salzburg, Bayern, Sporting City, Benfica, Ajax, Chelsea, LOC, LOC, Atletico, Manchester United, Villarreal, Juventus, Inter Milan, Liverpool, PSG, and Real Madrid.
Yes, indeed.
So interesting times ahead for the UEFA Champions League. Messi is still in there. I just have to check that in.
His draw is coming tomorrow.
So
his former team. The Barca draw
Salzburg.
is tonight.
I'm looking forward to Salzburg and Bayern.
When is the Europa draw?
I don't know.
I think it's today. It's today.
Is
We'll
it?
see Barca there.
No problem.
We Barca.
No problem.
Thursday night football.
No problem.
What's their slogan? What's
Europa. Forza. What's the slogan?
What's your
You don't even know.
No, we are not.
Mexican Club or something.
Mexican Club.
Mexican Club.
So, UEFA Champions League, congrats
club.
to all the teams who made it there, because these two, I mean, I'm just quiet. I'm just going to see how this goes. Barca is not in there. Barca is going to be in the UEFA. It's like division 1 of the championship.
Oh, they've done it already. they've done that one already.
So it's like the division 1 of the UEFA Champions League. But hey, we're looking forward to so many of the games. Like, you know, I'm a football fan, so we will follow those draws very, very closely. And then we'll see who takes the cup for 2021-2022 football season.
All right.
And can we do the cheesy quiz? Yesterday I wasn't here. Somebody won a voucher.
Yes.
Donate the voucher to me.
Yes.
Because
No, but before we go there, Barca will play Napoli in the Europa.
It's Europa.
Yeah, Maradona's former team.
It's Europa, so it's all right. It's all right. So yesterday, 3 of you got the opportunity to get some vouchers to buy yourself some pizza. And our cheesy quiz, we asked how many siblings Kevin has. You know Kevin in Home Alone? Oh, that movie, our classic, Christmas classic. How many siblings did Kevin have in Home Alone? And the answer is 4.
We should have asked them to name them to get an extra cheesy
That
pizza.
would have been hard. That would have been hard.
Name them.
A bonus voucher to the pizza. That would have been nice. So 3 of you, the lucky winners, 3 of you,
David.
Ayman Tanko from Taifa, Burkina, Leonard Ametepe from Takrade, and Davida Doku from Nungwabara. They say I shouldn't say it's Leonard, it's Leonard.
Yes, Leonard.
It's
Leonard.
Leonard. So Ayman Tanko from Taifa, Burkina, Leonard Ametefe from Takrade, and Davida Doku from Nungwabara. You are our winners for yesterday's cheesy quiz, and we wish you a pleasant experience enjoying that delicious pizza as we build up towards Christmas. So how do you intend to spend your Christmas holidays, and are you excited? We are, because we have some exciting things coming up just for you. For now, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have that important conversation on whether self-medication is a good practice. Kaf's grandmother did not have a pleasant experience.
No. They used pepper to raise her.
To resuscitate her. You don't want to be in a position where you wrongly medicate and you have to suffer the consequences for it. So let's meet back here at the table in another 2 or 3 minutes and get into the details. It's GTV Breakfast.
Live from GBC Studio 1.
And they call me Eugene. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pumpy, so we try our suicide. Let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what the body gonna do. We dey go straight to start. I'm gonna take you to next level. Oh my baby, oh yeah yeah. The energy next level. Back baby, oh yeah yeah yeah. Take you to next level. Oh my baby, oh yeah yeah yeah.
I don't code next level.
Excess baking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Every day he has a drink filled with malt. Every day he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved.
Today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
I swore an oath on 7th January to be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana. And that is exactly what I'm doing in the fight against Galamsey.
Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 yenjai. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey, Este Ghana. Ghana, mine, Emrina so. Galamsey, SSA, Jayo. My combo, Naga, mine is say, and say, I pepper. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 yenjai. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey, Este Ghana. Galamsey, yes, you are say, oh. Galamsey, and forest, I say, oh. Galamsey, and come for a say a bunch of wow, bedem. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 yenjai. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey, Este Ghana. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yes, a man in seo. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master.
Okay, good morning once again and thanks for joining us. This is Breakfast on GTV. We are already in a Christmas spirit and we hope you are too. What we hope you're not doing, which I'm sure the panel member here will agree with me, is self-medicating. So people take drugs for many reasons: to cure illness, to relieve them from pain, to deal with emotional issues, distress, and to cure sicknesses. But people do not take medicines the right time all the time. And sometimes people take medications that have not been prescribed by a doctor, and so the tendency is to abuse the drug or to take them in the wrong doses. How serious is this problem, and what should we be concerned about? At the table this morning, I've been joined by the Deputy MD of Tobinco Pharmaceutical Limited, Mr. Christopher Mensah, and he is going to explain some of these issues with us. Mr. Mensah, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Thelma.
Thank you for joining us again.
Right, thank you also for inviting me once again.
And because you're here for Tobinco, can I just acknowledge Lufat again? And this health segment is brought to you by kindness of Lufat. Lufat is a product from the Tobinco group of companies. It's been named Product of the Year, and it is Tobinco's premium gift to Africa. You take it 3 days after a fatty meal to cure malaria, only after a confirmed case. Okay, so don't self-medicate. You have to test positive for malaria before you take Lufat, and it has 2 WHO recommended ingredients, Artemether and Lumefantrine, specifically recommended and combined in the same formulation in Lufat. So let's hear the message from Tobinco's Lufat.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria? Lufat. Lufat.
Injija wuhoma malaria enka won to them. Lufat, eye malaria drop ekope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And aye Lufat. Lufat, itu malaria sententem. FDA ahwehwe sa edwade inkratu.
Thanks for joining us. Lufat is helping to sponsor this segment, which is dealing with whether self-medication is a good practice. And Mr. Christopher Mensah, Deputy MD Tobinco Pharmaceutical Limited, is at the table. Doc, is there even a clear-cut definition for what self-medication is?
Right, so a very good morning to your cherished viewers, and especially regards the season we are in. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to the Tobinco family, as the first family of Tobinco. Talking about self-medication, yes, WHO has a definition. Other people also have some definition, but in essence, we are looking at using a medicinal product, okay, as a medicine, a drug, to treat self-diagnosed medical condition. So here you are, you think that you have malaria. So you haven't tested, you have not used the proper medical systems to identify or to establish whether you really have malaria. And you go ahead and take any medicine that qualifies for self-medication. Even beyond that, the definition is quite broader. It looks at prescription medications. For example, if you are diagnosed as being hypertensive or you have asthma, and your doctor has given you a prescribed medicine, and it says come back for a review, but because you see the medicine is working for you, you intermittently or continuously use the medicine without recourse to medical practitioners' direction, then that also constitutes self-medication. And it comes in a very, very broad sense from substances of abuse like alcohol, like caffeine, like some of these recreational drugs like cocaine, marijuana, and all those stuff, even to usual allopathic medicines or orthodox medicines. So it is a very big issue we are dealing with globally, and it tends to raise head much more in our developing countries, principally because of our limited healthcare infrastructure. Because a person is not well, he thinks that probably is not signed on to health insurance, or he hasn't got money to afford Medicare. So he will just find out what is my brother using, what is my mother using. So he goes ahead to use it. And then one other bigger area is parents. Because parents, especially if they know a little bit about medicine, once the child is spiking temperature, it's paracetamol, it is a suppository, it is this and that. So we are all at fault, and it's a big problem that we need to solve.
My issue is, how is it a problem? Because if on the home front, a mother notices certain conditions in the child or in other children, and they say, okay, you have a temperature and this is what has worked for you in the past, why shouldn't we resort to it in a present situation when the child or the patient present with those same symptoms?
Yes, because yes, it has its good size in the sense that, yes, just look at the scenario. It is deep in the night, your child is spiking temperature. You don't have easy access to a facility, a pharmacy or a hospital around. What do? You try and use some of these first medications. So it has its space, but the dangers or the risks associated with some medication are so much more, in a sense that you might be dealing with a similar medical condition which might be much more serious. And if you start using medications without diagnosing properly or without a proper direction from a medical practitioner, then you might end up either masking the symptoms of the disease so that some of those symptoms or signs that the medical practitioner might need to properly diagnose will be masked. Again, it can be a very serious condition that you might be dealing with, and it's showing up as a minor symptom, as a cough, as temperature, as weakness. So if you take a medication and you get that quick relief, the tendency is that you are likely to stop going to get medical attention, and that becomes a problem. It can become any other big chronic condition, and it also leads to abuse of medicines. About 3 weeks ago, we're talking about resistance to antimicrobials, especially for antibiotics in our part of the world. There are amoxicillins, the ciprofloxacins, the flucloxacillins, and most of these medications are no longer working very well because people think that, oh, I have a cough. The last time I went to the hospital, they gave me an antibiotic in addition with my cough syrup. So then I can always go back and take it. And once you are not going by the proper means of prescribing, it's likely you are not going to follow the right dosage regimen, and that is going to breed resistant strains. And even talking about COVID-19, it's some of these things because people are not vaccinating enough. You are giving opportunity for the microbe, that is the virus, a lot of space to mutate and then give us a lot of resistant and difficult strains. So it is a very big problem, and it costs so much to the country as well.
We're talking about prescription medication for more diagnosed conditions.
Yes.
So you've mentioned high blood pressure, you've mentioned diabetes.
Yes.
And those are prescription medications.
Exactly.
But how do they differ from over-the-counter medicines? And how do we self-medicate with over-the-counter medicines? By their very nature, you're supposed to be able to get them without prescription.
Yes, exactly. And that is the more reason why over-the-counter medicines are one of the most abused, misused, or self-medicated products. Because yes, they are by the name, they are supposed to be just over the counter, just by asking. Sometimes even in grocery shops you can get them, because we have established so much experience with the product. We know so much that it doesn't cause too much problem. For example, paracetamol. We have so much knowledge about paracetamol. People can use it without even consulting a doctor, and it doesn't cause so much of side effects. So people have confidence in that, and that is why people use it. So we can classify medicines into about 3 categories by the regulator. We have the prescription-only medicines, which are products that you need a qualified medical practitioner to prescribe for you. Then we have what we call pharmacy medicines. For those ones, they are not necessarily prescribed by a prescriber, but a pharmacist should be able to give it out if he's able to judge rightly that this patient or this consumer is going to use the product rightly. Then you have the over-the-counter medicines, which are the ones usually advertised in the bigger media spaces.
Okay, is that why you brought some props with you to demonstrate?
Yes, so most of these medicines here are over-the-counter, from Entramol to liver salt. So this is a pain medication. This is for gastritis or indigestion. Then you have a cough syrup, Entralin and cough off. You have antacids as well as you have hematinins or blood tonics, and then you have your antimalarials, Atenate and Lufat. These and many other products we have so much experience with them as a people, and the side effect profile are very, very good, so that even when you overdose, it's not so likely that you're going to have an immediate problem. So the safety margins are quite big, for which reason we classify them as over-the-counter.
But you see, the confusion then is, we know these medicines, some of them, we know what they do. We know that when we take paracetamol, it's for pain relief. We know that when we take an antacid, it's for that. Yes. So why shouldn't we resort to them? Because it's easier. Chances are they are next door, very close to me, closer than the health facility. Because you mentioned that our health systems may even be overstretched.
Exactly.
So if we already know that the symptoms we have will be relieved by the medicines that are on the counter, it's just natural that people gravitate towards them.
Exactly. So that contributes to the abuse. Because for most of these medications, if you listen to most of the adverts that are played, we usually say that after 3 days, because we expect that if it's a minor problem you are dealing with, you just went for a party last night and you are throwing up, or you are having abdominal discomfort, and you take an antacid, we expect that it should resolve almost immediately or after some hours. So if after a day, 2 and 3, you are still having abdominal discomfort, then we say that quickly run to your healthcare practitioner for support. And that is the place of some of these over-the-counter medicines, just for the acute, the immediate phases where you don't have the practitioner available. But again, you can even try as much as possible even to go to a nearby pharmacy, to a nearby clinic, and still find out. The experience is that most people will go to a pharmacy and not ask for the pharmacist, ask for advice, but he just goes and
I was
takes
coming to that what role do the pharmaceutical side of the medicine table play in the fight against self-medication? Because a lot of the people who are behind the counter in some of the medicine shops may not necessarily be qualified. They are just there as salespersons and not as qualified pharmacists.
Well, for now, the Pharmacy Council is very strict on the kind of personnel that run pharmacies. So at the high echelon, you have the pharmacists. Below that, you have the pharmacy technicians, and you have the medicine counter assistants who are trained to be able to manage some very basic medicines, to be able to dispense them and all that. So we have the training now, and Pharmacy Council every year would have to certify that you have the right staff working in the practice of pharmacy. So for that space, it is done. But the truth is that we cannot say that self-medication is entirely wrong because of the circumstances we find ourselves in. The health facilities are overstretched. Otherwise, with the slightest headache, we will all march to Kwalibu or to the nearest clinic, and they will just queue out there, and health insurance will not even be able to reimburse the providers. But then, if you are running such a show and you have a slight headache, it is also in the interest of productivity that you do not just leave your job just for any small ailment. You go to a medical practitioner. Some of the things you can manage. Okay. So the thing that the pharma space we are doing is to educate. So that once you come to the facility to come and pick these medicines, we need to give you education about the product. And once we get such platforms again, we're able to educate our consumers and our clients to be able to do the right thing.
Mr. Mensah, we'll go and pick the thoughts of persons watching the show. You know that you can join the conversation via our WhatsApp number 055-55-61034, or across our social media platforms, and very soon we'll be picking those comments and questions for Mr. Mensah to answer. So it's a thin line then between self-medication for a good reason and then going over the top. When would you say that the situation has gone beyond self-medication?
Okay, so the watchword is the self-diagnosis, because yes, you are sick, you are not well, you feel within your body, okay, but then who diagnosed you that you have malaria? So for as long as you are going to run a rapid diagnostic test for malaria and you confirm that yes, I have malaria, and you decide to go for Lufat or Atenate, that you cannot say it's necessarily self-medication.
But it's not every, is it every sickness or condition that can be diagnosed? If I have a cold,
yes,
for example,
yes.
If I have a headache,
yes.
If I have toothache,
exactly.
What are the diagnostic processes to follow for those?
Okay, so for every context of medical practice, if you are practicing in Ghana, you're a doctor, and a patient comes to you with fever, with loss of appetite, or bitterness in the mouth, and
malaria.
Exactly.
Even those of us who have not been to medical school for a day, we know some of these things.
Exactly. So the context usually would determine the most frequent, or the most frequent conditions that you see. So based on the classical signs and symptoms, together with other diagnostic tests, if they apply, be able to diagnose that this is COVID, this is this condition, or that is that condition. Otherwise, if not for COVID hitting us, every person coughing, every person having a cold, we just throw it out as a common cold or just a common cough. But because now we have the context changed, the global context has changed. Now, when you go to a practitioner and you start coughing, he wants to go the next step forward and then find out whether really it is a common cold or a cough or it's COVID.
Okay, Mr. Mensah, this health segment is brought to us by kindness of Lufat from the Tobinco Pharmaceutical Limited, and we're going to go to your comments now across our social media platforms and on WhatsApp, and let's hear what people are saying. So self-medication experiences to share or questions for Mr. Mensah?
Thanks, Thelma. Thanks, pharmacist Chris. Newton Ellie says, personally, I lost money to self-medication. Long story short, I had to go back to the pharmacy and got the right prescription, meaning I could have saved the money I lost trying to self-medicate.
Exactly.
So that's one experience
exactly.
that the person had. This is Nana Ekia Osei Donyina. I almost became paralyzed when I administered an injection on my thigh. It's a miracle I'm walking straight. Say no to self-medication. So
I wonder what kind of medication that would be, to inject something on your thigh. I know insulin usually goes in the thigh, but I don't know which other one.
And then this is another person who has a completely different idea. Says, it's a great thing. This is Isaac Daniels on Facebook. It's a great thing to be a self-doctor. I'm glad to say it has helped me a lot. I always treat myself with herbs, and I haven't been to the hospital all my life.
We'll get to the conversation on herbal medicine and how it combines with orthodox medicine in a little bit.
Exactly. John Jr. says, I don't self-medicate, but rather I visit the hospital, or even if anything at all, I'll seek medical attention from the pharmacist. So that's John Jr. And Insharaba Gifty has a completely different view. Those commenting, I think from Ghana, which home didn't have a mother who was always the unprofessional nurse to administer medication to us? Who didn't take para for headache on his or her own those days? We were even better off. Now, even after going to the hospital, you come home with complications, says Insharaba Gifty. All right. Francisca Selom Benso says, local ones, 2 occasions and 2 ER. Nana Tufo, I'm yet to experience self-medication because I'm very, very careful. All right.
Okay.
And Borge B says, COVID-19 vaccine. I went in myself. The reaction there may bleh. So, but if you go in for a COVID vaccine, is that self-medication? You go in and get vaccinated. I don't think that's self-medication.
No, that's not self-medication.
Yeah. I'm yet to have any bad experience myself, but I'm very careful with self-medication. It says Abeka answer Cosmos. And finally, Nyatafe Freedom Achu says very dangerous and high risk. Just don't try it.
Okay.
So
a number of, people saying it's not good and don't try it. But the key point of our parents, they seem to know a lot. And I mean, you have boys, so you surely would understand that sometimes the symptoms present themselves and you just say, oh yeah, you give him para, he'll be fine. You've done that yourself.
I'm sure the pharmacist can tell us whether we are on track or not.
when should first aid stop? And then the actual process, because I've asked this a few minutes ago, and you've said after a certain number of days, by all means go to the hospital, or after you've tested positive. But it's not every condition that can be tested for, especially at home in an emergency situation.
Yeah, so the catch phrase is to say that after 3 days, consult a doctor or a pharmacist, because most of the medications that are given you are just for the acute phase, the short-term phase. So they might give you for 3 days, like an anti-malaria. They might give you paracetamol for fever, just for about 3 or 5 days. So if you are not getting well, because most likely, without even diagnosing, we think that, okay, it is stress which is giving you the headache, it is constipation giving you the headache, it is typhoid fever, it is malaria. So we tend to presume a lot of things. And for as long as we cannot test, yes, we need something, and we have come to trust in medicine so much as a society. So you cannot just go to a doctor, and the doctor will say, okay, you come tomorrow and let me test. Usually people would force you to get a medication. So let's give something, but then let's check and then monitor. But the dangerous bit is that sometimes some conditions resemble each other so much that you might be missing a bigger diagnosis if you are just using, for example, cough syrups just to manage any other condition, any other cough. So you realize that pediatricians, for example, want to be very, very particular when they are giving cough syrups, because the child is coughing. They think that there might be an infection. So why don't I go to the base of it and treat the infection than just to give any other cough syrup, suppress the cough, and then think that the infection is gone. Meanwhile, the infection is there and it might progress to a bigger condition.
So this has to do with masking the symptoms again,
exactly,
as you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
Someone talked about herbal medicine.
Yeah.
Can herbal medicines be abused?
Yes, herbal medicines, recreational medicines, caffeine. I mean, people even...
Your grandma will pour you a big cup and just say drink all.
Okay, so herbal medicine, we are actually now developing them so much, thanks to the Faculty of Pharmacy, KNUST, and other institutions like that, because herbs really have medicinal value, but just that the herbs also have some other components which might not be very medicinal. So we try to extract them, and that is the basis of orthodox or allopathic medicines. We try to seep out the real active ingredients. And then again, because some of the natural remedies are limited, so we want to synthesize them in the lab to make it available in a very large scale. That's why orthodox medicines are there. But herbal medicines also have their side effects. Sometimes we think that because the product is natural, it's okay. And you will notice that even certain animals, they are picky when it comes to the kind of grass they chew, because they know that some things are quite poisonous to them. So herbal medicines can be abused equally, because the person is constipated. Anytime he takes a herbal medicine, he runs or she runs and he feels good about it. Meanwhile, there are other problems with the product, which, because we are now developing herbal medicines, you might not have it well documented for you to find out. If you're taking paracetamol now, you can go online and look for all the possible side effects. But for herbal medicines, where do you get it?
God gave it to us. So some people say because God. But how dangerous is it, pharmacists, for us to combine herbal medicines with orthodox medicine?
Yes.
So somebody is undergoing treatment with a doctor, a regular doctor in hospital, but they come home and mommy says or grandma says, let's add this herbal component to what you're already taking. How risky is that?
Yeah, so the advice really is that always separate them, because the herbal medicine might have the active ingredient together with other agents which might cause an interaction with your orthodox medicine. For example, a lot of people take green tea nowadays for health, for rejuvenation, for immune system boosting and all that. Now, it's been found out that if you're taking green tea and you're taking hematinics, iron preparations, it does not allow the iron to be well absorbed. And then, on the other hand, also, the green tea effect, you do not tend to see it. So then you think that, okay, yes, it's good to take your morning tea. I take my green tea, and then the doctor has prescribed a hematinic or blood tonic for me. I also take it in addition, and you don't get a good effect. Because that area is a lot gray, we have not really researched so much into herbal medicines and their components and what they can do. It is always advised that if you are taking orthodox medicine, finish it. Okay. Otherwise, give yourself a lot of space in between, at least some 24 hours. Then you can be so sure that the effect of the herbal medicine or the allopathic medicine would have waned out of your body. Then you can reduce the chance of...
So I have two more quick questions before we go. Is it every sickness that needs medication? For example, you're a pharmacist, so do you prescribe medicines for everyone who comes to you with any symptoms?
Okay, so sickness, okay, I mean, can be broadly defined to even include mental sickness or mental illness. Sometimes the person just needs counseling, okay. Sometimes the person needs to go to a physiotherapist just to exercise and get the pain gone, okay. So it is not every disease condition that you want to prescribe a medicine, okay. So sometimes we just advise you on proper dieting. We advise you on exercising and all that. So all those things are part of therapy, but most of the time our space is medication therapy management. So you want to use medicine, and because most people will always want to take something home from the pharmacist or from the doctor, they always want to get
You've had
medicine.
situations where you had to turn people away?
Oh yes, it happens.
And say, okay, you probably need a good rest.
Yes, it happens very often. Only that they get disappointed. They think that, no, I need something. So sometimes if it's a multivitamin which you think that the person might need, just to generally bring up the health system, yes, you might just give that. Because there's something we call placebo effect. Sometimes when you give a bland medicine, a powder which has no medicinal value, and you encourage the person that this one can treat your headache, and he takes it with all faith and with all confidence, the headache sometimes goes away.
So faith is important.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Okay, so why is it that other people cannot read doctors' handwritings and only you? Is it something that pharmacists and doctors have connived to do so that we won't see what we are being prescribed?
Well, so doctors go through a lot in their practice. Everything you say, they have to document it and all that. So they will need to adopt a shorthand for the most part. And some of the things, some of the abbreviations they use are also Latin. And the prescription is not for you, the patient, to interpret. It's for us, the pharmacist, to decode and supply. Having said that, sometimes their handwritings are difficult to see, but with experience with the necessary exposure to medications, you're able to even guess sometimes that this could be this. Sometimes even go ahead to interview the patient.
So it's deliberate.
Well, it's not deliberate.
Thank you so much. Mr.
much.
Christopher Mensah is a pharmacist. He's also a deputy MD at Tobinco Pharmaceutical Limited. Thank you, Mr. Mensah, for being a part of our morning. He's been talking to us about self-medication and whether it's a good practice. The general consensus is that it is not a good practice, and at worst, use over-the-counter medications for only a number of days, about 3 days or so, and if the symptoms persist, you should see a doctor. That is what you are taking away from this table. Remember, the health segment was brought to you by Lufat anti-malarial medicine. You take it only after a confirmed case of malaria. Mr. Mensah, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, so I just want to wish a Merry Christmas to
again. Okay.
to my lovely niece, Tiffany Siani Apia, who is watching me very well even now.
Okay,
yeah, so
you can join Tiffany by watching us, watch GTV Breakfast, watch all GBC's channels. We have 6 TV channels, over 18 radio stations across the country, and you can join our social media platforms as well. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and on Twitter, so you can get all your authentic, credible information from GBC. We'll take a break, and when we return, Valerie will be standing by to tell us what's happening out there with traffic.
Well, good morning. On this side, my team and I, we're looking at what traffic looks like from the airport runabout area. Is a few minutes past 7, and usually when you're going towards, or yeah, from the motorway, Legon area, coming towards Accra, is mad up at this time, and then from Accra towards Legon, the airport area is really slowed down. So my guy Jay is behind me right now, and he's going to tell us what's happening. Good morning, Jay. What's happening? Just cross over to this side. Good morning, Jay. What's happening, and where are you reporting from?
What's happening, Valerie? 'Tis the season to be merry. Tra la 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 la. So it is Christmas. It's the festive season. It's fast approaching. And you know how we do what we do on the hashtag GTV Breakfast. Bring you these rush hour updates, so you know how to navigate your way around this. I usually recommend you go to your Play Store, download Google Maps, and then you find the spots of traffic along your route, so you know how to avoid it. Find alternative ways so you avoid the traffic altogether. That way you don't stress yourself. You know, it's smooth sailing for you. So this morning, like you rightly said, we are at the airport runabout, and it's a cool, breezy Tuesday morning. So basically, what you see behind me is the airport runabout, and you realize that Christmas is in the air for them, even though they're on the ground right now. I'm sure passing here at night, when you see the decorations out the runabout, you realize it's a beautiful scenic. It's something to look at. The view is quite amazing. So for now, this is what is happening in town at the moment. People are getting ready. They are eager for the season. I don't know what your plans are. So now I'm taking you towards the east, seeing those who are coming from the airport area to the runabout. There are some people who are avoiding traffic from the Polo Grounds area, those coming from Spaces, and this is where they are passing. So of course, some people are working at the airport and they are using this side. And for now, it's totally free. There's no obstruction of any sort. And then now moving towards the south, heading towards Elwak, Opebia, Vodafone, and all that. The traffic is picking up for them. So those using that area, it's slow moving, but it's something that won't stop you for too much. It's not scary. It's smooth sailing. It's just slow moving. That's what it is. A little slow and go situation for you. So that's what you should expect when you get to this area of town. And moving towards the west, you realize that it's also free for those heading to the main road. And once they get onto the Liberation Road, there will be some spots of traffic, especially when they get to Opebia, they get to 37. That's for those who are coming from Medina, those who are coming from Legon, those who are coming from Shiashi, Spana, and all the heading into that area. But for those at the runabout heading towards that side, it's free for them. And now finally moving to the north, all those coming from the Polo Grounds area, all those from Spintex, you can tell it's smooth sailing for them. I think getting to this area, it's the runabout that is causing the traffic for them, because it's just a single lane for them. So all those who are coming from Spintex, Polo Grounds, even those from Liberation Road using this side, this is what they will face. It goes all the way to the Polo Club runabout. So in terms of traffic updates, it's very smooth sailing. It's not really thick. It's not really heavy. So those who want to leave the house, this is the right time to leave the house and get to work. Of course, you have people who use the side of the road, like this policeman is doing right now. You know, I don't know if it's lawful or legal to do stuff like that, but that's what we find people doing in the country. So in terms of rush hour update, this is what we have for you at the airport runabout. My name is Jay Gabra, reporting for hashtag GTV Breakfast. Back to you, Valerie, in the studio.
Right. Thank you, Jay. That was Jay who came to us what traffic looks like from the airport runabout. So we entreat you, if you haven't left home yet, traffic will build up, and so you might want to leave home now. The show is made possible by Awake Purified Water, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, Shield, acrylic paint, Airtel Tigo, Lufat and cheesy pizza. I'm going to hand over to Kaf. He's reading some messages and we're interacting with you on our social media, and so Kaf is going to read some messages that our viewers and our audience have sent in. So Kaf.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Val in the news, in the headlines, Otunfo is in the news, MPP Delegates Conferences in the news, COVID-19 and it's in the news, and my guests are ready, willing and able to deal with the headlines. Let's go to the comments on 055-556-1034. This is from, it's from Aaron Kokomisa in Latebio Koshi. I'm not in the right position to tell whether self-medication is the right thing to do or not. I was brought up in a home where parents were usually administered medicine, and at the end we felt okay. But the point is, I think the medical fraternity must strongly engage in first aid by educating the general public on certain drugs, just to prevent wrong prescriptions or wrong intakes of medicine, all in the name of self-medication. Reminds me of my grandma, man. My grandma was she was a legend. And she took the tobacco and just went into a coma. And we had to pour water on this lady, pour water on her. In the end, we found some pepper and put it in her nose. And she woke up and said, where am I? Where am I? The next day she says, go and buy some more tobacco for me. Self-medication is not good, all right? So have that in mind. I want to say thanks to Gilbert, Benedicta, Osman, Menahanta, Kojo, Julia, Azuma, Lebeneth, and Mark. You're all watching GTV Breakfast online on YouTube, on Facebook. And just look for Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and then you can follow just like them. I will take a quick break. I return with my guests to look at the headlines. You're watching GTV Breakfast for the 14th of December. Today is International Monkey Day. All right, so when you go home, go and watch King Kong or Planet of the Apes, or go to the zoo and go and check out some monkeys. All right, International Monkey Day. Back in a short while. No monkey business. So you stay with us.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
And they call me UJ. Oh yeah, yeah. When you need a shoulder to cry, but my pumping, so we try was suicide. Yeah, if I gon' be bygone, I didn't see what the bottom gon' do. We go straight to start. I'm gonna take you to next level. Oh, baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Energy next level. Back, baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll take you to next level. Oh, baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't quote next level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
I am 7 years old. Beep, beep, beep. I am 4 years old.
We are 12 years old.
It's been 1 year since I started my antiretroviral treatment.
You can live a long, productive life with antiretroviral treatment. With antiretroviral treatment, HIV-positive expectant mothers can have healthy HIV-negative babies. Go to the nearest health center, test and know your HIV status. If you are positive, ask about antiretroviral treatment and you will receive help. Antiretroviral treatment is your only option for a long and fulfilling life.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
Every day he has a drink filled with malt. Every day he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. That is FDA approved.
All SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card: Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Yeah, baby, I like the way you shake body.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
December 2021, International Monkey Day. A snake in the monkey shadow. Remember those Chinese movies? Fushu or whatever his name was. Kufu. And then the King Kong movies and Planet of the Apes. You know, yeah, anything monkey today, you need to do it. You know, you've got to go the moves. Yeah. Godzilla, anything monkey is celebrated today. So try and go to the Accra Zoo and check out, or the Kumasi Zoo. Talking of the Kumasi Zoo, I went to the Kumasi Zoo once and I saw a very sad-looking lion. And when the lion was he looked depressed. His face was like this, you know. I said, "Oh, Charlie, Jatapa," and I hope he's in better spirits now. Okay, so yeah, do. Anyway, welcome to the show. We've got a lot ahead for you. We've got Keep an Eye with Valerie coming up. We've got Messages with Thelma. She's back, and we've got headlines coming up right now with my guests, Dr. Eric Odru-Osai. He's a government expert, an accountant, and a lawyer, and a director general of the Internal Audit Agency. Good morning, sir. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
Awesome. And another as well, I believe.
That is so.
And then we have the Dean of the School of Graduate Studies at UPSA, Professor John Koku Mensah Mauto. Good morning. Fresh promotion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are dressed in the right colors.
Thank you.
What does it mean to be an associate professor? What does it mean?
In fact, by the way, good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah. You need to meet the basic requirement of the university.
Okay.
Publish articles in a very good and ranked journals.
Okay.
And then you also have to provide some community services.
Okay.
Raise funds for your university.
Wow. The KPIs are plenty.
A lot of them.
And you ticked all the boxes.
You need to satisfy them.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think another case back from your mind.
Thank you.
Good. So this is the presenter, the professor, and the director.
And the dean.
And the dean. Yeah. Yes, we're in business. Okay, let's go into the newspapers today. Headlines, big stories. Daily Graphic, Asante condemns parliament's intransigence, fears it's a recipe for civil disorder. TUC backs vaccination policy. MPP gears up for delegates conference. Now the finder, still with Asante, is in the news. MPs cannot dictate policy to executive, but government must also incorporate useful inputs. This is Asante. Construction of MPs' constituency offices begins in 2022, says Majority Leader, and Minority accuses First Deputy Speaker of bias. Daily Ghanaian Guide, resign campaign. It almost sounds like years ago when President Kufuor made the same directive, which affected the president as well, the current president right now. Resign to campaign, says Akufo-Addo, warning ambitious ministers. And the business analyst leads with Ghana issues new international travel guidelines taking effect from today, December 14. Your messages on 055-556-1034. Thelma is standing by to read them, so keep them flowing in. 055-556-1034. Let's start with Asante, and we want to take some bite, courtesy of City News, on a few key things he said concerning Parliament and the behavior of MP. So let's just take this bite by courtesy of City News, and then I'll get the take from my panelists. Yeah, we wanted you to read his lips, okay? So don't worry, we will come back and then you will hear the voice of the Asante as he talks about what happened in Parliament. You know, he went really hard on Parliament and said, listen, you guys cannot dictate to the executive, while also acknowledging that the executive needs to take inputs from the MPs. When that soundbite is ready, we will get it for you so you can hear it from his own mouth. I'll start with Dr. Odru Osai. Your thoughts, really?
Thank you very much.
What's gone on over the past few weeks and where we are right now?
And let me say good morning to our viewers, and let me congratulate my colleague on his promotion.
Indeed.
You know, as for UPSC, they always recognize the young, and we go there, they have a young faculty, which means the university will go far.
Fantastic.
I think Otumfo is right in that direction because he's advising both parties. And I've said it time and again on this platform that the responsibility to approve a budget is a joint responsibility on both the majority and the minority. So there cannot be any blame game. It's about what is good for Ghana. The duty of the majority or the executive is to present a credible budget. The role of the minority is to make sure that it is good for Ghana. Each of them have a role to play in our democratic dispensation. The advice Otumfuo gave was clear to both parties. He said that, look, minority, you cannot introduce policies or you cannot dictate policy to the executive. The executive be a listening government because the minority also represent a critical mass within the Ghanaian populace. And I think it is fair. So his call was a reminder to the institution of Parliament that there is a joint responsibility on both parties to deliver on your mandate, which is to build consensus and approve a budget for the Republic of Ghana. So I think it is a call in the right direction, and I don't believe that they have heard him. And let me add that I have witnessed Parliament sitting to consider the estimates, and I must say that they are taking some of these advices on board. I have appeared before them, and I can tell you they are doing some good work out there. My prayer is that the consensus they are building at the committee level will move up into the chamber so that they can build a cumulative overall consensus on the approval process when they are approving the appropriation bill. But the fact that they have started considering the estimates in the detail or the manner in which they are considering it tells me that at least there is light at the end of the tunnel, because both of them are somehow in agreement at the committee level. And if you understand the workings of Parliament, They work at the committee level. Committees submit their report. Reports are aggregated. It becomes a consolidated report for the House to consider, and then they pass the appropriation bill. So I think we are getting somewhere. Otumfuo adding his voice is good. I call on all other religious leaders and all other leaders in this country to add their voice, and the Parliament to listen to these people and make sure that they can deliver on their mandate.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your take on that. Prof. Moto, you see, the action in the committees is nice and gentlemanly, civil, everything. It's when they get in the plenary, that's where the everything, the excitement, the people starts catching people, and then people are either chewing ballots or snatching chairs, and there's too much drama. Why can't they bring some of that cordiality from the committee level to the plenary?
To be frank with you, if you have ever probably worked with a parliamentary select committee before, you wouldn't see the difference. You wouldn't see NDC and PP. And sometimes...
Ghana.
Oh yeah, in fact, my first experience was very educative, and subsequent ones, I realized that normally what they do in the gallery is totally different from what is done at the committee level. They meet, they discuss issues dispassionately. I mean, just as we all know, when it gets to the floor, decisions will not be influenced by political ideologies, and that is, I think that's what Otumfuo was talking about. Indeed, we've all observed some level of politicking, where that's both minority and majority has taken some stance and wouldn't even compromise at all, and that is not what you need for a hung parliament. Look, no matter how you describe it, it's a hung parliament, and if you really want to vote the issues, I mean, this budget will be a little bit difficult to get passed. So indeed, I share the same sentiment with my senior here. It is good that Otumfuo has added his voice. We've been saying this all this while. Virtually every week when we come here, they should put Ghana first. And then, if we are not saying they shouldn't peruse the content of the budget, I'm not saying they shouldn't, conduct this dispassionate discourse to ensure that there's value for whatever is presented to Parliament. I think last week I met one of the minority leaders here who told me that, look, they are even looking at, now the major issue now. They are even scrutinizing who is supposed to, the one responsible to collect those taxes. And there are even conflicting news. This one, when I was coming, I was listening to the ministry, So if you don't ask these questions, it means that these things cannot be done. So it's good. Sometimes the way they politicize the whole thing with their ideologies makes it look like Parliament doesn't work. But they really work. Look, they can sit. My first experience was when we were changing the name from IPS to UPSA. We spent days. You need to defend everything. In fact, you have to give reasons why you have to change the name. And they don't ask political questions. I quite remember the non-IPSs were those who were supporting it, and then the IPS alumni were rather asking critical questions. As usual, they wouldn't want to lose that name, IPS. So we need to convince them. Indeed, it tells you that if, and subsequent ones, they don't show partisan politics at a committee level, but rather when it comes to the floor. That is where you hear all sort of political ideologies.
But
is that because the cameras are on?
I was going to say that but you see,
in the committee there are no cameras.
We have to also blame our constituents, because most of the people in their constituencies judge the performance of their MPs on how they talk on the floor of Parliament.
So they even say, but this man hasn't talked before.
But some of them do good work at the committee level. I tell you, when you go to the committee level, the input, the critique, and analysis sharp.
Should cameras go to the committee level?
Well, I think so. If we can extend the cameras to the committee level, so that at least Ghanaians will see the thorough work MPs do at the committee level, Ghanaians would appreciate the work of MPs. I tell you, I appeared before them, and this our bill to convert the agency into a service, it became an issue, and for a moment, all of them were in agreement to the extent that even the ranking member on finance
said that if by February government hasn't introduced it, he will introduce a private member's bill to make sure that our law is passed.
Wow.
You see, and this tells me that they are doing some good work there. Yeah. So maybe we should extend the cameras to the committee level so that the constituents will know that the work of parliament is not only on the floor of parliament. They do a lot more. Yesterday, as at 10 p.m., they were sitting to consider the estimates.
In committees.
In committees. These are things people do not know. So I think they should extend the cameras to the committee level so people will know what the MPs do at the background.
Sounds like an interesting proposal. What do you think? Yes, and if you're an MP watching us right now, do you think we should be seeing your committee interactions on live camera? Let us know. 055561034. And they are watching. Yesterday, we're talking construction and contractors, and a lot of contractors were sending us messages, so we know you are watching. So, MPs, you think it's time for cameras to get into your committee sessions, to broadcast what is going on there, so your constituents don't think you are a mute MP, one who doesn't talk. You go there for 8 years, the person hasn't talked before. Meanwhile, you are a vocal person in the committee, but nobody sees that action. Okay? Let us know. 055-556-1034. Messages will come through from Thelma pretty soon. Let's stay with some politics. I was in Kumasi over the weekend, and apart from the heat and the traffic and the multiplicity of stores, I also saw humongous, giant, monstrous billboards with political figures beaming at me and everybody else. So I saw the vice president's face on a big billboard. I saw a lot of the agri minister's face everywhere. I mean, it's not just in Cape Coast. In Kumasi, I saw him in Cape Coast. I saw him in Fort. Everywhere, he's everywhere. I also saw the energy minister, Matthew Opoku-Pempe's face as well. I didn't see much of Alan Cash in terms of billboards. But there's something big happening in Kumasi. The MPP is gearing up for the delegates conference, which is happening this weekend. They're going to be choosing new executives, and people are very excited about this. I have seen stories. President is asking ministers to resign. If they feel they are overly ambitious, they should resign and then now focus on their ambition. I also saw a story in one of the papers where the chaps at Menchia prevented supporters of the vice president from bringing the banners over to the Menchia area under the whole Akwesidai celebration. So there's a lot happening in Kumasi. The executives in the area have threatened to pull down billboards of campaigning ministers who are trying to hijack the whole system. Prof. Malto, how do you feel about all of this? I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
It's always been like this. I think the president calls in the right direction. In fact, if you have prominent ministers who are supposed to be actively involved in managing their respective ministries, if they indeed want to pursue their agenda, political agenda, then it's good to tell them to step down.
He's got authority now. Now he's a lame duck kind of president. He's not going to run for presidency again.
Oh no, he's not. So that's where your vision for the next few years. I think we're talking about 2 years more. About 3 years more. If he doesn't take care, their ambition will supersede that of override that of his ambition. And at this critical moment, you need people to think outside the box to manage the economy. I mean, we all know that we are experiencing a global crisis. And for that matter, the president should not only even ask them to resign. If it's affecting their work, he must drop them.
Also, he must fire.
Yes, I mean, if indeed their political ambition and you know what it takes to be a political, person, especially if you are pursuing a political power. And the names you have mentioned, they want to succeed him. The vice president, the agri minister, the trade, and these are crucial areas, critical areas. I know Dugati has said he was not appointed this time. Okay. Therefore, nobody is calling him. So even if it's probably thousands of his billboards, I don't think there's any problem. Yeah. But those who are doing the work of Ghana, they are being paid from the taxpayers' purse, and for that matter, they are supposed to work in their respective ministries. Indeed, the president I think this is the first time he mentioned this statement. Yes. He has always mentioned that if you really want to pursue a political agenda,
just resign and go. But if they're not doing it and he's still seeing them doing it, then I think the president...
If they don't jump, he should push them.
Oh, he should push them out.
Dr.
It's going to be very interesting.
Let me read a bit of the story. This is from Daily Ghanaian Guide. President has warned, he's given his clear warning to his ministers to focus on the job or quit now to pursue presidential ambition. The warning came after the last cabinet meeting, which ended late Friday night and was followed by a political session. There's growing anxiety within government, the ruling party, over campaign activities of a few members of government who are aspiring to win the nod to be the NPP's presidential candidate for 2024. He is reminded the aspirants in his government that not even the 17 NPP candidates who contested for the 2008 presidential slot, including the 9 who had been in government since 2005, were seen to be actively campaigning within the first year of the second John Ajacum Kufuor administration. So he says they are peaking, they are exposing their hand too early. Time should pass for them to be, and he gave them some history. He said, listen, when he was prime minister in that time, people didn't start campaigning so early. Abadi, what's going on?
Yes, you see, I think we should understand is that in our democratic system, we should always be able to distinguish between political party and government. It is true that political parties produces government, but once you assume the reins of governance, you try to create somehow a link between you and the political party, not in totality, but then when you are focusing on governance, do the governance bit. And it is also important for us to know that what is happening in Kumasi over the weekend is a national delegates conference to elect the leadership of the political party, not the presidential candidate.
Exactly.
So if you're a presidential candidate and you go and then you erect your billboards there, it does not really help. And then the NPP must know that they are going into 2024 and they want to break the 8. Discipline and enforcement of constitution and rules is very important. Ghanaians are watching. Someone came out clearly to indicate that these are the rules. And once these are the rules, you are expected to comply. If you fail to comply, we'll disqualify you. I really want to see the NPP going ahead to enforce the rules. If it means disqualifying a candidate, disqualify a candidate and send a strong signal that you are a party of discipline and you will not condone any of these things. It's very important, because if you don't do that, then the indiscipline will continue into the presidential primaries and then it will continue into 2024. Again, if you are a minister of state or somebody in charge of government or managing a state institution and you want to go into politics, do the needful. Like Honorable Asamoah did. He did the needful. He resigned and decided to contest. Do the needful. I can't imagine you going there with state resources. You are chief executive of an institution. You use the institution fuel to go and do all of that. It is not good governance. No. It is not good. So I agree with the president that if you feel you want to go into politics, resign and go. And I advise the president, if they don't resign, go ahead and fire them. And I advise the NPP leadership that enforce your rules so that there will be sanity and discipline from day one. The fair delegate conference, if they don't enforce the rules and they don't apply the rules, it will go into the presidential primaries, and that will be a disaster for them in 2024. So they should put their foot down and make sure that they crack their whip.
I heard the executives in the Ashanti region threatening to, so their proposal is that they are going to ask the MMDAs to pull down the billboards. Now, is that not going to be an illegal act?
No.
Can a party instruct the MMDA to pull down a billboard?
They don't need to instruct the MMDA to pull down a billboard. Before you erect a billboard, you need a permit from the MMDA. So it is within the mandate of the MMDA to pull down any billboard that has been erected without a permit. But the challenge here is that the district chief executive is a party person. For all you know, the district chief executive is even the delegate. So for the district chief executive to go and authorize his planning officer to go and pull it down because they do not have a permit will be difficult. And that's why we have to elect MMDCs. If we were to elect MMDCs, they would apply the rules and make sure that you come for permit. So you don't need the party leadership to instruct the MMDA to pull it down. It is the work of the MMDA to pull down all billboards that have been erected without their permit.
Okay.
That's what they have to do.
It's as simple as that. But what if they were paid for? Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They were paid for,
I mean, there's a permit for it, you can't pull it down.
No, if there's a permit for it, you can't pull it down.
Yeah.
But looking at the locations, I don't have the evidence. And the way it has been positioned, and the speed with which they were positioned,
alacrity,
it will be extremely difficult. And with my expertise in local government, it's really difficult for me to believe that all of them had permits within the period. And you know that the chief executive may have his interest. He may have his candidate.
People.
So if you are not his candidate and you come for the permit, you never get the permit. So that politics will also play out today. To solve the problem is to crack the whip. That's all.
And then the long-term solution is to elect these people.
That's the long-term solution. Elect it and then be careful about political party financing. And this is where we have to open up the debate. How much are people spending on the campaigns? It is true that we are not seeing the billboards, but then are people spending on the ground? What is Ghana's medium to long-term agenda towards financing political party activities from the delegates level to election of presidency and MPs? We need that conversation so we will be able to put it in context. And that of NPP has started. That of NDC will start very soon. How are we solving the problem? Is it going to be a 4-year cycle, and every now and then we come into this and we see billboards springing all over? And that of NDC is going to even be serious because they are in opposition and the chief executive government is in power. So when you erect a billboard without a permit, he'll go with speed and no, pull it down. And that will also be a political problem. So we need to resolve it.
Yeah, indeed. You see the permutation? That's true. We've got to get our local government act together.
Oh, yes.
The whole business of administering stuff at the local level, making sure that we elect these people so that people can be more impartial.
It's very true. You see, if you really want to do away with this winner takes all, I don't have any issue with it. I mean, we even politicizing, making it partisan at that level. At least, today we all know that politics has become business. People are reading politics and they even choose politics as profession. So, indeed, every party will be part of developing Ghana. So, I've always been saying that, look, there are some localities that no matter what, you wouldn't have a DC or MC coming from the governing party. But at least you have the opposition also playing a role
at the local level.
And the people in that area can judge your performance as to whether indeed you always say or you do what you always say. That's very, very important. So the issue of trying to address the winner takes all and introducing the all-inclusive government can be solved with the election of these
parties. Some of them can never get a seat in parliament. And they can never win the localities. When you elect them on partisan basis, like KEA.
They can be a mayor.
They can be a mayor. And PPP can win KEA seat at a mayor seat, hands down. Easily, They can win and they can have that one person there implementing almost everything that they want to implement if they had win. So when it happens like that, you send a signal of confidence and you grow the smaller political parties. Now they have become election political parties. They are active only in the year of election.
It's like populace. They are dormant and then in the year they erupt.
You go to EC's website and you have about 25 political parties. But we see only two. You understand it? So I think we are not helping our democracy. Let us grow these smaller political parties by making sure the chief executives are elected on partisan basis. So they will also win some of the seats. Have a PPP chief executive, have a something CPP chief executive, and then they would all see themselves as part of governance, and it will even be a training ground for them.
Exactly. It's you can go through there and rise up through the ranks.
So indeed. That's it.
Okay. Hey, what do you think so far of the stories that we've brought to you? Otunfuo talking about, hey, parliamentarians, get your act together. You can't dictate to the executive, but the executive also open your ears and listen to inputs. Okay? So that's one issue there. There's also the issue of the MPP gearing up for their delegates Congress and the president really cracking the whip and making the threat that, listen, if you want to come and take my stool or my seat, my throne, do the needful. You resign, and then you can go and do your business, and it's threatening action. Let's see what you have to tell us in the messages on 055 556 1034. Stand by, Thelma. Tama, what are people saying?
Okay, so it's a very active conversation, and I think the call for those billboards to be pulled down is quite an interesting one. We are saving the contacts of those who regularly message us, and I keep saying we have like a special thing planned for all you guys. So you'll see that some of the names are saved. These are not our friends. These are friends of the breakfast show, so they're not personal friends. They are friends of the show. And so Sami is asking, watching live from Kaswa, and he says, I want to hear your panelists lambast the NDC last minute pullout of the election of MMDC East. Did the NDC pull out last minute on that occasion? Well, another Daniel is saying, good morning, Kafu. You guys are doing great things in the morning. So if the vice president also has an interest in joining the presidential race, should he resign or should be fired by the president? And that's what Daniel is asking. I wonder which of you, maybe the prof and the good doctor would share their thoughts on that. So if the vice president has an interest, should he resign? Good morning to you all. If the president wants the ministers to resign, then he should tell the VIP to do same, because the ministers are learning from the VIP, so the right thing must be done. Tony from Kaneshi says 1 Ghana. I agree with the 1 Ghana bits. Definitely 1 Ghana for all of us. And so more comments coming in. Good morning, Kafu. As for my MP, I've never seen her on the floor of Parliament. Not at all. Kofi from Dodowa in Accra sent that to us. Parliament is... She said this parliament is her second term. So we've been educated this morning that the politicians and the members of parliament do not only speak on the floor of parliament. There are other things that happen behind the scenes that we do not see. So perhaps we should see more of those, is what the panel has said. So here, this is another regular. So we send links to all our regulars in the morning when we start streaming. So when you see this, that's what that's about. The Ashanti King deliberate action is the best choice for the parliament. The problem of 37...
137.
There's the one is missing. Is the issue we need discipline level to overcome disrespect towards majority members and minorities, which their interactions is causing indiscipline in the House of Parliament. It's time to obey the voice of Asantehene so Parliament can put things to proper perspective. George sent us that message from Osu. I wonder what the stick is. I'm always afraid to open stickers because I may see something I don't want to see. Good morning, Mr. Kafu. Good morning to you too, Mr. Wonder. And keep your messages coming in. And Salty, Salty. Good morning. You always make my morning. Dela from Ablikuma. So we'll change Salty's name, because when we asked earlier, you say your name is Salty. Now we put Salty on screen. Now you are Dela. Okay. So please give us the right names so that when we project, we can see who you really are. Good morning, Kafu. Honestly, I don't believe the election of MMDCs will be apolitical. It is an open secret that assemblymen are aligned politically, with some of them being constituency executives. Unfortunately, any position that has to do with elections in Ghana today is either green or blue. I think our university SRC elections already give us enough clues on the issue. Andy sent us that from Trade Fair. The university prof is here, and maybe you'll take a pick on what you've just said. Good morning, and your guest. All you guys touching on is on point. God bless our mother Ghana, and Miawezo.
You're welcome.
From Kofi Selassie. South says, please, I'm called Dela. Okay, we will sort that out very, very quickly. This MPP presidential race campaign started as soon as the 2020 elections was over. The right thing must be done. Richard said so. Efwa is still typing, but for now she says, good morning, honorable team. And that's all the comments we have so far on WhatsApp. We're going to change the interface to perhaps the Facebook stream, and we'll see what others are saying. I'm betting that it will be pretty much the same conversations happening on the WhatsApp platform. And I'll throw it back to you guys, Kaf. Should the vice president also be made to resign, or will he be fired by the president?
It's a very good question. It was dancing through my mind. So Amenyo just kind of put words to my thoughts. You know, it will be quite interesting. That would be a first in Ghana, for like a sitting vice president to resign and say, look, I want to focus on my campaign. What would happen there? If that happened, what would happen? Would the president have to appoint a new vice president?
Definitely. Because the vice president was not elected. The vice president was appointed by the president, and he comes in with the president. That's how our presidential system is. You know, so the vice president can resign. And remember Aka's issue.
Yes.
You know, and so vice president can resign. But you see, there is a conditional clause there that if you are interested, so insofar as you have not declared your intention, the understanding is that you have not declared the intention and that you are not interested. Until such a day, such a time that you only come out to pronounce that you are interested and you want to do A, B, C, D, then it would activate the resign bit. For those who are going for the various party executive positions, they have declared the interest. Some of them have resigned. We have billboards all over, and they have admitted that they are interested, and it is time for them to even go and put themselves up to be elected or otherwise. You know, so that it applies to them. But for the position of the vice president and even the presidential candidate, it is early days yet.
Okay.
But my advice is that as soon as they think that they are interested, like some of them did, like Honorable Jogate, he's not come out boldly on one of the stations, indicated that, well, it will not be out of place for him to contest. And for that matter, he's doing his own thing at the background. So all those at the frontline politics, frontline governance, if you're interested and you want to start early campaigning, then come out, resign, and then allow us.
Should the party give a date? It says from this time, this is when you can start doing active politics.
They have a calendar. They have a calendar.
Okay, so they should respect the calendar.
Yeah, they should respect the calendar.
Okay.
They should respect the
Two quick points flowing from the messages. One person said, as for my MP, I have never seen her talk.
That's what we're just talking about.
That's it.
In fact, you need to engage MPs in a working, committee, and you see how engaged they are, how probing they are. Look, I can tell you, no MP is useless.
Yes.
No MP is useless.
But
is it?
When you finish, I'll ask something. Kafu, you see, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Kafu, you see, when you look at the rules of parliamentary practice, if you're a first timer, you're a backbencher to start with.
What does that mean?
It means that you will never have the opportunity of occupying the front seat, not even the middle. Secondly, if you are a first timer, your questions are edited and audited by your leader.
Yes.
Before it is admitted. So you go through processes. So it is a tall order for first timers to even be heard. Yeah. So the first timers, that's a lot of work at the committee level. And that is why I would strongly join the group that is advocating that, look, let us send cameras to the committee level.
Listen to a counter proposal on this point. It says, if the cameras go to the committee levels, they will start putting up that parliamentary behavior again, because now the party people will be watching them, and so they have to fall in line with party doctrine or whatever.
No,
isn't that a threat? Isn't that a danger? That once the camera go, people start acting. They on camera, then they start, okay, I'm on camera.
Let me explain it to the person. At the committee level, they have technical people in there. On the floor of parliament, they don't allow technical people to get a debate. Okay. So at the committee level, technical people are there. They provide the technical input, and the technical documents are there. They speak technical language.
That's how come you can appear at the committee
level. That is why I appeared before them,
yeah.
And then they ask questions, and they were very technical. And the finance committee of parliament is super. Because the critical questions they were asking about audit, about the infraction, they didn't even know that I won an award as the best public sector institutions for enforcing internal controls. So I had to explain it to them. So I think at the committee level, they do a lot of technical work. Yeah. And that is where first-time MPs do a lot of their work because of the parliamentary bureaucracies that prevent them from getting to the floor to make their points.
So it's not as if they are mumu, they are working.
They're working. They are working.
Please don't be blasting your MP. So I haven't heard you talk. They are working. Okay, they're working behind closed doors. Maybe one day when cameras enter the committee rooms, you will see the evidence. Yeah, okay. So keep the comments coming in. Very, very, very refreshing. 055-556-1034. Still to come, we have a couple of keep an eyes with Valerie. And then Tama will be sitting down with Esinam Amuzu, who is the presenter of Gems of Our Time, Unique 95.7, and Michael Doku, who is a member of Curious Minds, to look at community engagement of adolescents to help with their reproductive growth. And Valerie will sit down with Daniel Oche Benjamin on the Unearthing Talent segment of our show. More stories for you. Let's talk COVID now. It's a big deal. And TUC is backing the vaccination policy that the authorities are putting down. So being vaccinated boosts confidence, and that helps with business recovery. And so for us, we support the policy, but the vaccine should be made available to workers. So organized labor has put its weight behind the government's compulsory vaccination policy. If you are leaving this country, you've got to be double vaxxed. If you're coming into the country, you've got to be double vaxxed. If you're an airline who dares to bring somebody who has not been vaccinated, $3,500 per passenger. Multiply by 6, that's a lot of CDs, okay? A lot of CDs, 21,000 CDs per passenger. If an airline flouts the rules. And TUC is basically backing the government to make sure that this happens. They are talking about engagement, workplace vaccinations, and availability of vaccines. Those are the key issues, aren't they, Professor Malto?
Yeah, I think when I've got into it's critical that the government must come out with a policy to ensure that everybody is vaccinated. Now we have the vaccine in abundance. Just that I just don't like some of the comment of some political activists, especially trying to trust the effort of the government in terms of this particular issue. Kafi, do you know the reason why COVID is not going? I mean, it's an observation. Okay, indeed, if the West had been magnanimous enough to have distributed the vaccines fairly to even the poor and emerging countries, I wouldn't say even the poor, emerging economies, we wouldn't be where we are today.
How do you mean?
Yes, because you see, the thing is a global, it's a pandemic, and for that matter, if you want to address the problem, you don't address it partially. You don't do partial, solution to the problem. You don't solve it partially by hoarding chunk of the vaccine in your country, and then the other unfortunate ones, like Africa and some part of Asia, as at this year, and then even towards the mid of this year, not even 50% vaccination has been done in Africa. Are you okay?
We are on a 10% level now.
Oh yeah, oh no.
10%.
We've gone beyond 10%.
Gone beyond 10%?
Oh yeah, 10%. I remember that's the last week we had done about 5 million.
That's right.
And that's more than 10%. Now, most European countries were ranging between 60, 80%, some 90%. So if you think that you are going to address the issue in your continent, whilst indeed the world is a global village, and you move from your country to other country, you should observe and acknowledge that indeed when you go to those countries, you surely get infected, and the virus will continue to mutate, and that is what we are seeing. So it's a matter of the whole world seeing this as a global issue and distribute fairly the vaccines to countries without that economic, power in buying them. So that's why we are today. It's a global thing, and the world leaders must listen to us, and then make it open. I think the World Trade Organization president mentioned this, and I think I agree with her that indeed the West must do fair distribution of the vaccine. It got to a time that we even had money, we couldn't buy the vaccine. When others had it in abundance, and were even encouraging their people, motivating them with money, and some were giving some sort of incentive to come and take the vaccine.
Yes.
When we didn't even have it, once we had money to pay for it. And that is where we are. Now, the West must see it as such. Then they come back home. We can only appeal to our brothers and sisters. This is not an individual thing. It's not about your ideology. It's not about your beliefs. It's about the national disaster. If it's just about you and your family, no problem. But this, when you're infected, in fact, everybody around you is endangered by your infection. And for that matter, government must come out with a policy that indeed, if you have to even make it compulsory for each and everyone to take it, it will be in the right direction. Nobody should say that because of my religious faith, because of my personal... Yes, indeed, you have the right, but I guess at a time, the government can take that right from you.
In an emergency case.
Yes, and if it requires that the government must even declare a state of emergency purposely for this to ensure that everybody takes it. Because we don't have it in abundance. But my only problem with the airport policy is that, look, we need to be very careful. Indeed, do we have enough vaccines to vaccinate them? Because you don't have it. What I heard was that you take a mandatory vaccination before you enter the country.
Yes. But if you're not vaccinated, and you'll find the airline to
and do we have enough vaccines? Because the number of people entering this country.
Dr. Kuma Abuaje yesterday, Director General of the Health Service, and he assured us on live television that we have enough vaccines, so we are expecting even more.
Okay, all right.
He assured us.
I hope so, because see, currently, with the strategies they have put in place, I can only say that we are going to experience some shortage. They are now moving to communities. They are moving to companies. They are moving into like churches. About 2 weeks ago, they were in my church.
And then
did
people take the vaccine?
Yes.
Also made a
yes. I mean, no. There was an announcement that look, the COVID-19 team is around. So when you finish, just pass by and take your vaccine.
Did people take it?
Yes. Okay. I had taken mine by then. But if I would have taken it, I think I'd taken it. So I think that it is time we know. I mean, we also acknowledge that, look, indeed, this country, some few people cannot say that they can't take this vaccine because of their respective beliefs. Because when they get infected, they are equally dangerous to the uninfected ones. Myself and you.
Indeed.
And even the vaccine doesn't protect you from getting infected.
Plus, you found out with the South African president who had been vaccinated.
Yes.
And did his West African tour.
Yes.
Nigeria, he even came to Ghana.
Yes.
So those who are hanging around here right now.
And there are those who even enjoy the protocols. He will not go through the procedures that you go through when you get to the international airport.
Wow.
So they are the most dangerous. Okay? And they are a threat to even the vulnerables who come in contact with them. And sometimes even our president, I don't know the protocol they put in place, but they don't follow the same protocols we do.
So it's important.
It's important.
And you back the TUC's call.
Yes, I mean, it should be mandatory. And I like the way they are going to the universities, the schools, and even the secondary schools, getting this parental, the PTA approval consent. No, that may not be probably a problem, but a consent, we should agree. But when all this fails, then I think the government must come out with some punitive measure to ensure that everybody takes it. Like the polio, whether you like it or not, you will take it. Dr. Sek.
I think I want to agree with Professor Mauto, but the airline fine is not punitive enough in my view.
The 3,500.
It's not punitive enough. I think it should be around 10,000.
$10,000.
It should be 10,000.
Twice about coming to
10,000 Ghana, and they think twice. You know, because this is about human life, which is priceless. So the 3,500, I don't know how they arrived at the 3,500, but I'm encouraging them to increase it so that it will become a lot more punitive.
It was big news of today, like that big airport tax in Ghana on people who fly in.
Yes.
Who fly. And in 3,500, it was a big deal for them.
Yes.
It should increase.
It should be increased. But if you go to United Arab Emirates, if you go to Dubai, I mean, they will not collect the money. They will deal with you according to their law.
Yeah.
They will deal with you according to their law. And in certain cases, you will be jailed. Yeah. You understand? So this is not punitive enough. And I also think that the West and the developed countries are not respecting the principle of common but differentiated responsibility of international law and even World Trade Order, which requires that it is their duty to support developing countries insofar as those categorizations are there. Yeah. I don't know why that is not happening and they are hoarding. And I think our leaders must also think into the future, because with what is happening, continental institutions must start investing in local industries so that we can have our own vaccine manufacturing firms in this country. We go to other countries, some of the developed countries, they have fuel for the next 10 years, but they still struggle with us, with the little that is on the market. How many months can we survive without fuel as a country? This is forward planning. So I agree that we are putting in place all these measures. These are short-term measures, but then we should look at medium to long-term measures so that in case another pandemic strikes, we'll be able to deal with the issue.
So the 3,500 should
go
up
to $10,000. They should move it to 10,000. So they will think twice before coming to Ghana.
So radical proposal.
It's very important. But it is not more radical than what is happening in the UAE. In UAE, in certain cases, you'll be jailed. You'll be jailed straight, because The government spends so much on its citizens, and one person can be an endangered species for everybody in the country. Why do we expose ourselves to that? And this is about life and death, which is priceless. So what is 3,500? Somebody can have it, pay, and then he will enter into the system. It should be 10,000 to the airline. If you bring 10 people, it is 100,000. We'll use it to build a hospital. We'll use it to support a school somewhere.
Radical proposal here from Dr. Oduro-Osai. What do you think the measures that the government, the authorities are putting in place to minimize the reduction of COVID-19 into our borders? You have to get vax before you leave, or if it's the Johnson & Johnson single vax. And whether you leave or you come into the country, these are the rules that apply. And the airlines who are flying in unvaccinated people will be fined $3,500 right now, Dr. Osai. It's too small. Up it up. Up it to $10,000. What do you think? Let us know. 055-556-1034. We'll be going to your messages shortly, but I just want to dive into a couple of quick messages, quick stories before we dive into the messages. They all have to do with Parliament. So the minority accuses the first deputy speaker of bias. This is in today's Finder page. Let me find it. Let me find the story in the Finder. Page 15. Here it is. So what are you saying, minority? Page 5 rather. Okay, so it's the issues arising out of what happened in Parliament over the last couple of weeks, and Kafu cannot find the story, so Kafu will go to another story. There it is. The minority caucus in Parliament has accused the first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei Owusu, for his refusal to admit a motion filed by the minority leader, Haruna Drisu. So the motion was an abuse. Mr. Osei Owusu's refusal to admit the motion was an abuse of his office, according to them, and was not mindful of Article 296. He was politically biased in his refusal to admit the motion than doing his work as Speaker of the House. So they are not really listening to Asantehene, really. They are doing their own thing in Parliament, and it just appears that it's going to be a rough ride between now and 2024 December, when the Ghanaians decide to either retain or fire people or bring in new people. Prof. Malto.
That's good. It's good for democracy.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good. It's good. You see, we have mentioned over time that lawmaking also requires consensus, not the numbers. These two parties have enjoyed, governing with numbers, and sometimes we all know the outcome of some of their actions, especially when people, some parties will use their way, use the numbers, have their way, approve policies, approve laws, and then cannot even execute it. There are several, instances I can give. STX is number one. It was because of the shortage in our accommodation-related issues. I followed that argument very well. There were issues mentioned by the minority by then that, look, they came out with a lot of the people. They couldn't ascertain where to even get the money from. What happened? They were able to have their way because they had the numbers. You remember there was this financial, the loan that they were going for when it was discovered that it was a saloon. The address was the hairdressing saloon. They had their way. Yeah. Just because of the numbers.
Was it some German something?
Italian.
Yeah.
You see, it is time they get to know.
The contract was in Italy or something.
No, in the UK.
A saloon.
I'm telling you.
Wow,
I remember.
Was it not political?
Not for numbers. How would you have your way when in actual fact you have the facts?
Yeah.
Now, we've gotten to a stage where Ghanaians will now appreciate that sometimes some of those things will change the environment, the ways of doing things. Now, MPs or Ghana Parliament will now know that, look, it's not just about the numbers, but when you get to a stage, we need to build a consensus. Even though they'll tell, look, about 90% of the bills they pass is by consensus. They hardly will disagree. Yeah. But some of these issues, for the first time, our budget is being delayed. Because of some few issues. And I know, we'll make a headway by the brothers, both parties agreeing to the issues. I think the major issue now mentioned by my senior here, and what the MPs are talking about. Apart from that, because the minorities' interests, their requests, most of them had been considered in the budget now. So what we are saying, look, they should also admit that you cannot have your way. Even the minority, you have the power. So you see, once again, they're using the numbers, okay? Because they know that the majority may not have their way, no matter what. They need them. That is why you need to sit. Indeed, if this e-levy proposal is implemented, and it doesn't go well with Ghanaians, who suffers? The current sitting government will suffer. Okay. And that will even give you the opportunity to even tell Ghanaians that we told you, and you didn't listen. Okay. So at least this government has come to say that indeed they want to address a financial gap. Okay. And this is the most creative way to go about it. Negotiate the fee so that it will reduce the burden on Ghanaians.
We need more talking, more consensus.
That is it.
Dr. Osai, I'm going to allow you to hold on to your bite. Okay. Let's go keep an eye on something in town, and then you come back and I'll get your response. Okay. You're watching GTV Breakfast Headlines with Professor Mautor and Dr. Odro Osai, my guests. We're going to, by virtue of technology, a place that I used to go to quite often in Mamprobi on a day like this. It's Tuesday. Yeah. Valerie, take us to the market.
Sure. So on this side, we're keeping an eye at a popular market inside the heart of the Mamprobi market. It's called the Tuesday market, yes, or Jufojano. And so my guy Alan is already on standby, and he's going to tell us what the Tuesday market looks like and what people are doing. Good morning, Alan. Good morning. Tell us what's happening.
Hey, good morning, Valerie, and welcome to the Tuesday market. I'm not sure what your look up to Christmas is like, but I wake up every morning, and this morning I woke up with Santa is coming to town. So you better watch out, never shout, even pout, because he knows when you've been good and when you've been bad. And guess what? It's good for you to be good, because Santa will certainly come to town. Well, in the Tuesday market, exactly where we are, and we're looking at how shoppers are getting themselves ready to celebrate Christmas. We're interacting with some of the market sellers, and we're also seeking to speak to some of the shoppers to find out what they're buying. The Tuesday market is generally a food market, and so what you have would be fruits and vegetables, our household foods and stuff. Indeed, these are all necessary, because then we are able to plan what we eat and how we eat them, even during Christmas and beyond. I'll go quickly to speak to a fish seller at the market who's going to tell us whether or not the market is good and how the market is looking, and whether people are actually buying or people are not buying. Give me a minute and I'll grab her as at the moment she finished serving her immediate customer. Cook, great. Manya, ofane morning.
Dromo
ofane bafe bi nyuma mami kedengmene wonye blonya teja no tamoten.
Dromo na wanyemi.
Be mi ni kenkle ni mba na ka ta sise eche ko ton na ke o jira le lo pe ba o kele e jira fefe o
fine
go shika e ton e ka o kwe ni hemo ke be ya le blonya ba da mo se jegba.
Oh, e ba domoshi dromo na le ba domoshi. Ni mo yo na le ba domoshi.
Lo hu ni yo okun no je lo bibi ni kra te lo ni jin.
Iye tuna, iye man, iye son na agbele. Kema na agbele, ke na agbele ku.
Ne me na fe wo ke yo blonya na ehin o.
Aka yo blonya na ehin so ne ka nya ka wo flo mi.
Yo. O fa na o wi adon be ma ya mo ni cha no ni nkele hu abo enyoku mako e. Manya to yo te.
Ayo adromo.
Hejola ha bu.
Ni choka ish.
Mo ina ke ojila mi na chinsi amu ke kaka chufa ke mi ni bi ko. Te no hujila yeli mo tamote ke blonya.
Ayo adromo e ba ni na wo ba yele na kanu shijala ke yiku.
E ba ni na wo ba yele na kanu. Mini ha ko ake jala ehin ku e.
Ami ba ke jele bi ne. Bena sama na ko na kan. Jala mi fe jo. No ke yo blonya shi wona na.
Mwana amu ade nche wonye wako inu
onani no wo yo wo npa fai Kefe nye charge ala we hawo. Amen.
On GTV.
Amen.
Live on GTV. How for him back me. Aja Martin.
Amenadom.
Me here over here come by saying.
No cre punankwa na me wo wa ha.
Punankwa na wo. Na bronya just to say be na fuadu ntam ye be di bronya to say.
Yeguso.
Yeguso. Mahunu se wanya jadi ni bi anu ba bi ma me hwa no so na adwene.
Na makpate.
Na me entipacho ba ya na o fa ne he agbegulusen na mo de free no hand.
E free enough ene.
Mo de free enough na de ba. Na o hwe se ne bronya dwa e ko no a e ade a ne to no be sisa na se ne e ko na sa.
O sa ne ko ensisa sa.
Me good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Sorry I had to crash you, but I see you want to buy yams. As in a few days we're going to be celebrating Christmas. What's the mood like?
It's quite the same because it's quite difficult for people to actually make ends meet. So it's not really exciting like the years before.
I thought that I was looking forward to you coming up with a bit of a certain upbeat to say, well, we're getting ourselves ready for Christmas, so we're buying, but you kind of...
the situation is tight, I have to be honest.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what will you say to those of us who have not made our minds yet to hit the market for either window shopping or actual shopping for Christmas?
Well, you have to make your mind. I mean, it's very necessary.
It is.
It's actually a plan that you have to put in place before the time comes. So
it is absolutely awesome speaking to you. Can me tell you what? You get your bargain, right? Masa shana suma mu. Shana suma man kasi amame. Okay. Over in Nakaimo ban ko down. Okay. Well, we're going to be speaking to another fish seller. Manya morning. Over in the hotel. Ngene ba fe binyong makese mi won ye blonya te blonya jala tamoten.
Blonya jala e lo ko shika lo fe to. Ni jale po. Ko ni me ne won ni awo. Won go na ke.
Mi inake o ye lo so te na ni okon no.
Iya chile, iya shoy, iya emule. Your doing yes aflo can be fin ko ba e blonya yo nyanklewu
mi na ke manya gbengma di dem ka yo nyankle o ho di dem no cha nyankle na ga mo oh ta me te money
he bi cha ye ko do ka ye ga ba churu nye pay ami nye ba ka ye je pari nye pay
okay agbene ha wa kwe noko o ye shoin oye onyankle oye tiama ni je oye chile o fine mi nkwe te o shon ye minute amejla he na meka
e ko 50 Ghana
ni onyankle o
bi da ya plate to ebi mi na ba bi to ko be na ka ne ka
o fine chomo mi shon ye una
so la ko be 40 Ghana.
Wonderful. Echaka no Bible nyana ani jela na ba bashin lo ene da moja na ba damo. Wonderful. Okay, mimba bu hongo. Kajofwe. Noni se no da mo mina mi no ni na pa aji saman. Fe saman ni lo.
Anya se man je tumo poku wa se man fe fi apa.
Ah na kan.
Le jela ngwa.
Je ke anya gansho na bia no lo nyanya ya Abidjan.
Ena ga Abidjan sama je gansho na sama.
Ni wa aye blo nya na ingbeje ihe na mejila edamo ani ejila spon ni hello ba anya ba hello ejila kanwe.
Ejila spon shi be ne yo ni ami ejila wa ni ami lu afi pa. Awaga lu efo ye ko aye hi. Ni wo ska lan we bo wo ya ke ko ba ngi ska ko chu ni wo nu chu mo ya no. Aga be ko aye lo ni lu afi de ke. Bo ska be bobu. Wona aye se no wan pa fa lo nya che no awo no wan na gbo nyi wo ho.
Right, okay, another fisherman wants to speak to us finally. The okra sellers and the garden egg sellers are saying they're busy. They want to enjoy their cocoa, so we could give them a little break and come back. But finally, we're going to be speaking to Gamanya. Manyofa in the morning.
morning.
O fine na to yote.
My chair room.
Wanda ye washing. One Bible blow nyami na ke ono be chinana ne kotodwe. Ke ye muade anakan. O ke fan futu nakan. I see. O fine ye muade ngba kojo bode ye lo ngba kojo.
Gaja agbo isin.
Oh wonderful. No fine ngba mejela kan.
Amejala 5 cedi to pe obekwe.
Wow. Wow. Na ya blow nya na be ni twa ke ye muade ke kotodwe akwa ho nka akla nakan.
Ke wona wo ke ye muade ke kotodwe ba fi nakan.
E wo fine ke o gbagbe blow nya ngbe to ko to ba yi lo wo haten.
Wọ́n kwẹ́ náà ní yìnbọn bá tún eduro mọ̀ pẹ́ ní ìbá ní ìnáwó wọ́n kwẹ́ náà ní ìbá tún.
Ní mẹ́nẹ́ fẹ́ jìlá gbẹ́nẹ́ mi ní o bá kẹ́ mẹ́ ní kú ọ̀wọ́ ẹ̀já kẹ́ wọ́n ya live ẹ̀ GTV mi ní o bá kẹ́ mẹ́ ní kú ọ̀wọ́.
Ní kú ọ̀wọ́ yóò àjọ àmì fín ní ewu àmọ̀ ọ̀bọ̀n ẹ̀ àmì he wàlẹ̀ ní àmì wàlà sẹ̀tìl ní ekpla àmì efi ahẹ́ náà àmì yọ ekpla àmì kaba náà bá yẹ jàlá náà kẹ́ àwọ̀.
O fa ne ole aka na okemi wie o gba anyo badom no nkoma ofen wo ye gami shini o che eneme o chala china kanto minin o chala ye mode ka kotodwe o fa ne gama ni kwa wole bi na ameka bo kwa agbemble e wo ka ma ke ye mode minin ni kotodwe hu be china kanto
ka china minin
Well, this has been Keep an Eye coming to you live from the Tuesday market. It's been a very busy market day, and clearly you can tell there is some upbeat, there are some who are not, both shoppers and sellers. I believe as we build up to Christmas, things will likely change. If it doesn't change, heaven will look kindly on us. Indeed, it is always good to look forward to Christmas. Thank you very much for joining us at the Tuesday market. This has been Keep an Eye on #GTV Breakfast. Valerie, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Alan. Indeed, it is GTV Breakfast. Kafui,
that was my sound bite of the whole morning, man. We should rename that segment to Keep a Nose. Keep a nose, because I'm sure his nose has been invaded with all beautiful smells. Now I know where I swear by my father Canto comes from. I swear my father Canto. It was a primary school. I swear my father Canto. So the Canto is the knee, right? Yes, the knee. Dr. Osei, that was an interesting, very interesting interaction there in the market, getting a flavor of what's happening for Christmas. And then you can comment on it if you want, and then we can bring you back to the issue of what we're talking about concerning the TUC and backing the vaccination policy.
Yes, I think these are places that our policymakers should visit. Once a week, take time off, go to the market, have a chat with them. I was looking at the hygienic nature of the environment, yes, the need for food safety and all of that. So I think it's good. GTV, you are doing so well. Thank you. And I applaud you for that. You bring all these things out, and you are not leaving anybody out. You bring all of them on board. I think it's a good thing. On the issue of the building consensus, I think that the MPs should continue to build consensus. They should move the consensus building from the committee level to the floor. When they get to the floor, they should not allow, they should not be overtaken by the presence of the cameras on the floor of Parliament, and continue to make sure that at least they give Ghana a very good budget.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's get some messages from Delma. Whose Canto has been covered by a black skirt.
I used to live very close to the Tuesday market, so it's where I had my first market experience with my mom.
Fantastic.
So I know the market intimately.
Jufo is Tuesday.
Jufo Jara.
Jufo.
So it's called Jufo Jano.
Jano is market. Kajano.
Kajano, crab market.
Osu Jano.
Osu market. So
thank you. Market the messages for us.
We are marketing messages. Then we should send the bills to them, didn't we? Sami from Kaswa is still sending us messages. You see, the thing is, when they are quite lengthy, we are unable to read. But when you keep it short like this, we are very happy. Leviticus. So these market women are saying that COVID-19 year 2020 Christmas was better than this year 2021 Christmas. GTV Breakfast Show is fantastic. I got that last bit. But you see, the irony is every year, and so it makes you wonder, was last year better? Because last year chances are if we were to replay the tape, they would have said exactly the same thing. So interesting comment that Victor said. Thank you. Alan is amazing. I've heard him speak 3 different Ghanaian dialects so well. He reminds me of KKD. Yeah, thank you. Alan speaks Frafra, he speaks Hausa, he speaks he's something
else. A message before.
Which one?
Yes, the same one, the Alan message.
Oh, the Alan message. Good morning, Kafa and Thelma. I'm so impressed with the new high-tech GTV. You're always on point. I'm so hooked on the breakfast show. Kudos to you all, Trisha SEC. Trisha, thank you for sending that message.
This is the only substance you can self-medicate. Please self-medicate on GTV breakfast.
Send us more of this. we love to hear from you.
Get high on us.
More messages coming in. Good morning, Kafui. I'm Samuel from Chantang Petroleum. I like the level of knowledge your panels are exhibiting, but I disagree with the fact that vaccination should be made compulsory in this country. Vaccination has never been compulsory all over the world. You can do your checks. We do everything within our power to resist mandatory or compulsory vaccination in Ghana. This will be done on non-violent cause and non-partisan basis. Thank you. Thank you for sending us that message. You didn't tell us your name, and we haven't saved your number, so
Samuel from Chantan Petroleum.
Samuel from Chantan Petroleum. Thank you for sending that message to us, Samuel. Here's one. You're here thinking policies while you rule this nation without developmental year plan. You people have sweet mouth. Democracy goes with policies. Ask yourself, has Ghana expressed that? You Ghanaians copy blindly. A country that we always look at policies, but we don't practice what we preach.
Why are they saying you guys? Is the person a non-Ghanaian? Say you Ghanaians.
Well, if I'm looking here and there are 2, African-looking people there, or my kind of pigmentation-looking people there. So perhaps those are or they are using somebody else's DP to celebrate them. Who knows? But remember, comments and suggestions that are made on our social media platforms do not represent the views of GBC or any of its affiliates, and so these are opinions expressed by other people. We are just creating a platform for other voices to be heard. This is quite long, so I'm going to just keep that off. GTV Breakfast Show, you have guys.
You guys have.
Okay, you guys have changed the face. Something is missing of Breakfast Show in Ghana. Well done from Martin. Thank you, Martin. As for this one, me cry, I associate with this comment. Here's one, Mark. Hashtag GTV Breakfast is organic and tasty. This is the hashtag we want you to follow.
I like that.
So the hashtag GTV Breakfast is the hashtag we want you to. So organic and tasty, original.
No, I like that. I like that.
Straight from the soil.
Organic.
And someone is scrolling with me. Bear with me. Let me go. Let me go this way as much as I can. Good guests you have. I think other parties need to get involved. What good is the vaccine if we get all the jabs and still get infected? Africans should wake up, since we can't force anyone against his will. Furthermore, they can make regions available for those who don't go to live there. I think please ask them what they think about LGBTQ plus issue. Should it be accepted for the sake of loans? I think we've discussed this issue at length a while back. And to the issue of the first deputy speaker, I need to know if it's not possible to put up a criteria in which a person must fall within before accepted into the position, instead of just votes. Some just get surprises whilst they don't have any knowings about where they sit. So that's your opinion. Did I get a name? I do not think so. So let me pick a few more. Prof is saying, lengthy comments. Africans must be proactive at all levels and in all circumstances. When Trump invested about $30 million into the production of the COVID vaccine, African leaders and churches were accusing them of plotting to wipe away Africans. I was accused on one of the powerful religious platforms because I oppose the belief that the virus is from the devil. Africans must sit up and think, and this is Professor Emmanuel Jeulangs from La Paz. Those of us that already had vaccinated still do not have our status uploaded in the GHS launch. Any help? Daniel from Ofanko via Kaswa. Ofanko is via Kaswa.
Yes. Just keep your card so that, I mean, if there's any doubt, you can show them, and then and that should be it.
Yes, but they need to be able to validate the card.
Yes.
So having the card is not enough. If the code is scanned and the records do not reflect in the system, then I can appreciate how that would be a problem for travel.
You should link up with Ghana Health Service.
You need to be. Perhaps we should extend this or forward this message to the team to see if we can get some answers for
and he himself
Daniel
can just
and
check
all
out
those who
Ghana
may
Health.
be
Ghana
in this
Health Service.
particular situation. Am I allowed to take a few more? Two more. I like COVID-19. If you misbehave, he will arrest you, and he doesn't mind if you're president or poor farmer. He is justice. If COVID were to be Ghana police, like we the poor ones will suffer. I beg you people, who you know you are begging, but you have to say it. Okay, I have one last one. Which one? Where should we go? Okay, here's one that hasn't spoken today. I think more education rather should be given to the citizens concerning the vaccination and not letting it be compulsory. Why do they give us compulsory food? So your thoughts and your opinions as we read them out to you. Nobody gives you compulsory food. Funny. So these have been your thoughts with us, and I'll throw the ball back to CAF and the gentleman to continue the discussion.
My guests, we are done for today. Any final comments you want to make, Dr. Sai? You're good. So, Dr. Eric Odrosa is a governance expert, Director General of the Internal Audit Agency. Professor John Koku, Mensa Mauto, Dean School of Graduate Studies, UPSA. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Always a very illuminating conversation. Congratulations once again. Professor Mauto, wish you the very best. Keep climbing. Thank you. Keep climbing. Thank you. Two pieces of good news that I want to share with you before we go. So in Efiekuma, apparently they are turning trash into cash. So find out in today's Daily Graphic, Western Region. Trash to cash. I love that story. And then for those of you who went and did the police recruitment, well, there's good news because tomorrow you'll be doing your interviews. Yeah, there's a story in one of the papers. Go check it out for yourselves. If you're part of those people who want to be future police officers, good news for you. Wish you all the best and do the right thing all the time. And we will support you as patriotic Ghanaians. Still to come on today's show, there's a conversation that Thelma will be having on community engagement of adolescents to help their reproductive health. And then Valerie unearths talent like a miner digging for gold. And the mineral that will be discovered is called Daniel Oche Benjamin. You don't want to miss it. My name is Kafi Day. I'm still thinking of my grandma who knocked herself out with tobacco, atama. You know, oh, Grandma Nukuno, may you rest in peace. She was high, man. She was high as a kite. We had to pour water on this lady. Then we gave her pepper in her nose. She woke up and said, hey, where am I? The next day she says, Kafi, go and buy me some more. Don't self-medicate, okay? It's not good. We'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. 055-556-1034. This is GTV Breakfast. Onapo.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast, and GBC in collaboration with UNICEF every Tuesday will discuss issues that affect adolescent reproductive health. Today we are going to be talking about how the community engagement can help in adolescents in their reproductive health stage. So helping me to have this conversation, I have a young woman, Esenam Amuzu. She's a presenter of Gems of Our Times. It's on Unique 95.7 FM, and she's my guest. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning, Esenam.
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
Okay. I'm blessed.
Thank you.
The hashtag to follow is GTV.
Definitely
following. And don't self-medicate.
Okay, sure.
We learned that today on the show.
Okay.
Right. So you've been working with adolescents most of the time. What do you think are the main challenges you come across when you speak to these adolescents in the communities that you go to?
Okay, I think basically sometimes when it comes to discussions around adolescents, I even kind of start and I throw it back to whoever I'm having the discussion with, is look back at yourself when you were an adolescent, depending on the context and environment. And those are the different things that shape the different needs and wants of every adolescent as they are growing up. And so depending on where you are, depending on the context you find yourself, the resources available is going to be different from whatever adolescent girl finds herself, to be context specific. So an adolescent girl in a rural area has different needs when it comes to an adolescent girl who comes from a peri-urban area or a middle-income family and all of that. Some of the issues cut across, definitely. When it comes to the issues around reproductive health, it is about communication and information. Those are the key things that come across when you see adolescents. You are talking to them and the things are either that they lack the information about their reproductive health or they don't even have it. And I'm sure that for many of us, or for a lot of people, when you look at the current adolescent generation, the only difference that I usually say that puts extra pressure on them is the issue about exposure to technology.
Sure.
Because if I take myself for example, when I was an adolescent, yes, it was a very confusing stage. There were different things. I was transitioning from one time, I wake up in the morning and I have breast and I have this, I'm seeing my menstruation. Whether I even have information or I had information on my menstruation before it came was another issue. But now, but at that time, I was not so exposed to technology. There was no issue of social media and all of the pressures. It was for our parents and they had the information. But the current adolescent is so exposed. There's technology, and even before she starts experiencing the different changes that come in her adolescent period, she's exposed. But the question is, what type of information has she been exposed to? Is it the right information? Is it the adequate information? So you speak to them and they lack information. Okay, their menstruation, yes, they've heard it. But so as to whether it is the right or wrong information, it is not there. The communication gap, mostly within their parents, is still an issue for them. Many adolescents still grasp or still find it difficult to express and communicate their feelings to their parents or to older people. You know, it also comes back to the issue of culture and socialization, how we are raised. And so if you come from that family where it is a matter of the child has to be seen and not heard, then you grow up knowing that there are certain things you are limited to. You talk about it and society says you are a bad child.
All right.
So many of them lack it. Okay, sure.
You've spoken a lot, but all these challenges you mentioned, you keep referring to the she factor. But one of the things we've been trying to address, one of the challenges we've been trying to address on this program especially, is that, you know, in the adolescent age, we tend to leave the gentleman totally out of the conversation. And you have just been saying she. So what are some
biased?
Okay, so
maybe not to be biased. Okay. Well, that's subconsciously, but also because a lot of my engagements are with girls, and for whatever the challenges, you see it manifesting more with the girls. I'm not saying it is right to leave the boys, but it's good. Thank you for drawing my attention, and definitely will continue the conversation, referring to them as adolescents. So for many of them, in terms of both boys and girls, many lack information about their reproductive health. Sometimes they have the information, but it's not the very right or accurate information as you would. And then, you know, this lack of information then translates to the very things we see among teenage pregnancy. We see issues of drug abuse. It's sad for an adolescent. Yes, but we have issues of drug abuse as one of their key challenges. Some of them school dropouts, depending, and also, like I said, depending on the context where they find themselves. And so with all these things, if they don't get the right person or the right lead or the right communication, if I should say it, or information when necessary, then we keep seeing an increasing number of some of these things as and when it shows up, or as and when the data allows us.
Right. So talking about community engagement and actually pushing it and encouraging our young people to do that. On the adverse, sometimes when these adolescents speak to their peers, friends in the community, do they not get negative advice instead of good advice?
Oh yes, they do get, because if you are speaking to your colleague who you all find yourself in the same age bracket, or you find yourself as peers, what shows that your other friend is giving you, or what information that other friend is giving you is the right information. And that is one of the reasons why we keep seeing the cycle. So for an issue like teenage pregnancy, for instance, you have adolescent girls amongst their peers, as sad as it sounds, some of the community. So she's 14, 15, 16, and she sees her other colleagues who tell her that at 15, if you've not you are not sexually active, it means that you are lacking something. At 16, she sees her colleagues who have children and who brag so much about it. So she goes to them, or she wants to relate with them, and they make it look like she is the odd one out. And sometimes that's the very, very personal experiences some of us kind of share or relate to. So when it happens like that, she goes to them, or she sees her minaki. She has no information. She has not been able to talk to her friends. So she goes there to another colleague who tells her, hey, okay, so now you are menstruating, you have to use this. She has cramps, which is one very characteristic of menstruation, and her friends openly tell her that you have sex, it will go away, or if you give birth, it will go away. That is very, very bad information, or that is really not accurate information, but she got it from her peers.
Okay, so even though we are encouraging community engagement among the adolescents and the youth, there are adverse, there are negative sides to it, and so the key word is to look out. And when somebody says something to you, try and process it to yourself, or speak to an adult, somebody that you probably look up to. Also, with issues of poverty and the increasing reliance on the male gender or boys to support women and young people, what suggestions would you give to the young people that you interact with and those who are watching you now?
Okay, so we have, over time, it's easy to say, okay, poverty is one of the reasons why we see some of the challenges. Poverty is why an adolescent boy will decide to drop out after JHS and go look for source of income. Poverty is why, okay, that may be true or whatever, but it's always not the situation. In terms of over-reliance on guys, that is a kind of socialization structure that we have seen or created at the community level, and that is what happens. And especially among adolescents, when you look at the kind of relationships that breed among them, and when you look at the relationships, sometimes not so unhealthy ones. So the not so unhealthy ones kind of encourage that kind of male dependency, and so once it is encouraging it is an adolescent boy is forced to provide for an adolescent girl, and within that context, you are wondering what one that the other is doing to be able to support. Both adolescents should be in school and be supported by older people, exactly, or their guardians, their parents, or whoever is supporting them. But then when that it falls within that bracket, what will he do to support her? Now they are both adolescents, so you want to encourage them, a lot of both boys and girls who are adolescents, to stay in school. You want to encourage the community systems to give a listening ear to them. You want to encourage the community system or the structures, from parents to older people who find themselves in the community, to stakeholders or to community leaders, or encouraging the positive traits that adolescents should have, or the positive things that support their development, and not put them in that context where they have to force themselves to feed for one another. So I think it's more of a collective responsibility of society or the community as a whole, knowing that within that period, it is education that should be the priority for them. And so if, yes, the parents find themselves in the poverty cycle, if we want to put it in quote, what other systems are there to support? should the district assembly be doing to support a family that cannot afford to send their adolescent ward to school? What is the community or the chieftaincy structure trying to do to give to those kind of people?
So many questions, but we have few answers, right? Lots of questions, but few answers. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
From your outfit and being and interacting with all these adolescents, how do you suggest the media should support in community engagement among the adolescents?
I think it is about what we put there. What stories are we telling? And we all agree that the media is a very powerful tool in the society. The media is usually referred to as the fourth arm of government. And continuously, what you give out there is what is imprinted in the minds of people. So within the media space, even looking at telling the stories of an adolescent, it is nice. I'm happy to be here to talk about my engagement with adolescents. But how nicer would it have been if we had an adolescent girl herself right here and you asking her what are their challenges? And once that goes out, it has been the story of the adolescent being portrayed to whoever is watching, and not me telling the adolescent. I can only tell it from my point of view or what I have experienced. But the current adolescent generation is better equipped to tell her own story. And if we can give them that platforms to engage, if it is about an adolescent hosting an adolescent and they discussing their issues, no matter how small the time is, no matter how brief it can be, it sends that strong message out there that the adolescent is empowered, and we know that all this should come with some form of grooming, some form of mentorship. So once we start there, we are ready to mentor them, we are ready to groom them. They are empowered, they are equipped, and they can tell their story better. We listen to them, and it's not even just about telling their stories, it's also about giving that listening ear. They see that someone is interested in them, and that those are the very little things I would say that if we want to look at, it gives us a very, very good starting point. And then the bigger things about addressing their challenges, teenage pregnancy and all of that would follow.
You have spoken like someone who really works with adolescents, huh? Okay, before we wrap up, anything you want the public to know, those watching you, members of Curious Minds?
Well, for Curious Minds, we know
social media. Yes.
For Curious Minds, definitely we are a big family, and on our program Gems of Our Time, we discuss issues for youth, issues of youth development.
When does Gems of Our Time? When does it air? When does it air?
Every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. And then we have the one for our younger group, which is Unique Curious Minds. That airs from 11:15 to 12, and then the youth show is from 4 to 5.
All of these on Saturday, and
all
that's
of these on Saturday on 95.7 megahertz. So anyone who wants to follow the Curious Minds family, catch us there. We discuss these very issues, and as on UCM, like this, the 11 to 12 one is the adolescents discussing their very, very issues. The young people talking.
So what are you discussing this Saturday?
I have to confirm with our producer. Usually this is around the time we settle on topics. By Thursday, Friday, we know what we are discussing, and then we prepare for it.
Thank you, Esenam. Thank you, Esenam.
Much,
we've been speaking with Esenam Amuzu. She's the presenter of Gems of Our Times on Unique 95.7 FM, and we've been discussing community engagement of adolescents to help their reproductive health. And note that this discussion is part of a series of programs in the UNICEF GBC Curious Minds collaboration in adolescents, newborns, maternal health, and lead poison awareness project. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be unearthing some talents right here. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. We'll be right back.
This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital.
You want 15,000 Ghana cedis. Sapato the birthday.
May the better cement.
Yeah, me who sika kesi no menu supreme. I start to me go v. Me nenye to me go get 10,000.
Ah, but you go so, but skal pato the kwede.
Me be try me no.
But who yen then or win the person star 500 hash.
Let me say nyam papra. My winnie for 5,000.
You be Mexica. It is our Airtel Tigo Sua. Making sure say what the list 500 hash no activated to go misono.
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Welcome back. And so my guest, like I promised you before we went for the quick break, is Benjamin Daniel. In fact, it's Daniel Oche Benjamin, a.k.a. Elevated.
Yes,
welcome
to
the studios of GTV Breakfast. First time having you here on the yellow couch.
Yeah.
Can you take off your glasses so that we can see what your eyes look like? You know, the eyes, your eyes are windows to the soul, right?
True.
So let us look in your eyes and let's feel your vibe.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just putting you on the spot.
Right.
Okay, so Elevated, how would you refer to yourself? Are you a fast rising artist? Are you an upcoming artist? Are you an underground artist? How would you call yourself?
I think I'm a fast rising artist.
Fast rising artist, not a rising artist, but fast rising artist. Why do you say so?
Because there has been so much growth beyond my expectation for a couple of years now.
How many years?
I think 2-3 years to be precise. Like things just keep happening so fast. Sometimes I don't even understand. I can't even explain them.
That's why you chose the name Elevated?
No, the name Elevated is there. It's actually like a state of mind. The name itself is a state that I have up here. That I tend to see life in a way that I see everything in a positive manner from the top, regardless of what happens in my surroundings. I always keep that. I just keep that high spirit. Yeah.
I think I like you already. So what's your style called? I like your hair. I like the twist in it with the beads. But generally, what's your style called?
What's your
style called?
This is just a simple style, like simple and weird kind of. I can't even. It's just simple.
Is it streetwear? Is it street fashion?
Yeah, a touch of street fashion and just
vintage. You call yourself vintage as well. I'll come on as your stylist because I'm telling you your style. That's just me being. So your latest EP, that's Distinction, no?
Distinct. Yep.
Distinct.
Yep.
And people are touting it to be lit.
Sure.
Can you give me like a freestyle?
On Distinct.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to hit you with Mania.
Pardon?
Mania.
Okay. Mania.
Mania.
What does it mean?
Mania means like the act of being happy.
In which language?
It's just like a flair, like a slang on the street.
Okay. So it's a street slang.
Yeah, it's street slang whereby you're happy, you're celebrating or something.
Okay. So let's have Mania then.
Everything Mania.
Everything Mania.
Everything crepes. We keep it on cool on this side. My guys are lit. I take it Prada on Prada. Hey, one day at a time we'll take it Gucci for Gucci. Hey, no they ask for price. Wonder Rochi on low key. She give me. No they ask if you know me. I take it. You the baddest. Just the flyest. Okay. Do it low, do it slow. We the baddest. Hey, Desperado, we go hard on this. Leading your wave, you man. I'm going to.
Okay, all right. So why are you not? Why are you not in Nigeria? Why are you in Ghana? Why are you making music here? Why are you not in Nigeria? Tell us your journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I love this question so much. Like what you just asked me. My music officially started in Ghana. So I'm a Nigerian, based in Nigeria, but I schooled here. Okay. But my music officially for me, the journey for me started right here in Ghana. It all started with like a karaoke show, like having fun with my friends, going for karaoke. And afterwards, I started recording. My first official song was recorded here in Ghana. So it's more like I have this connection, there's this connection with Ghana, the energy, the vibe, the environment.
Okay, we like it. Don't worry. We'll add you to us. We are fine. Ghanaians, we like that.
So
we'll add you to.
So it started here officially.
Right. Let's talk about music in general. Okay?
Yes.
Did you always want to be a musician?
Yes.
Always known you wanted to be a musician?
I've always known. There's this place in my heart that I've always known I want to be a musician. I want to be an entertainer. I've always known I have something I want to tell the world, my sphere of contact. There's something I have that I need to give out there.
Right. Well, how do you find the music scene here in Ghana compared to the Nigerian scene?
The Nigerian scene, is very big. I won't make any comparison because the Nigerian scene is a big market with so much competition and everything. And Ghana will not even fit into Lagos alone, Lagos City. So I think Ghana is doing very well. Just Ghana is doing very well. Nigeria is big. There's no comparison for me. The energy and vibe is what I connect with here personally, which I don't know who other person connects with. But I connect with a particular vibe here that is very, very peculiar to me.
Okay, and that's what makes you want to stay in Ghana. So how do you find the Ghana music industry scene? Don't compare it to Nigeria.
How do I find it?
Yeah. It must be conducive for you if you have a vibe that wants
Yes, yes. It's conducive for me.
What makes it conducive?
It's conducive for me because for me, I get inspired, particularly. But the Ghana music, I feel it's kind of like there is these particular people who are just always in the scene. If there's anything, if I'm going to hit anything, it will be there's this particular people that are always on the scene that you don't get to see the new faces coming into the picture. There are these particular people that year after year, of course, they deserve it. I'm not saying they don't deserve it to be there, but there's no room for a whole lot of young stars like fast rising artists.
Artists like
you don't see them stay here.
Do you think? Why do you think that is so? Do you think that the new crop of artists are not talented enough? Because I believe if you're talented, your talent will sell.
True.
So why do you think the people at the top or the people who are always on the big names, why is there no room at the top for fast rising artists like yourself?
For some reason I don't know, but I think there's probably little support system. If there is enough support system with genuine love, there'll be no reason why some fast rising will not get into the system and stay. It's once in a while. You hear a whole lot of upcoming artists making waves in other places year in, year out. But here just once in a while you see a new face pops in. And if care is not even taken, after a short while, it's off the scene. And there are these people who are just there.
Maybe they are making exceptional good music.
Good, that's true.
That could be another factor too. Do you like high life?
High life? Yes, I like high life. I actually was listening to high life growing up. My dad was always playing Amachi Dede and some of them.
Oh, I was just about to put you on the spot, but this one day you say your dad used to play. Okay, so can we have you do something from Amachi Dede?
No, trust me, I won't lie, I can't.
Why, you forgotten?
I've forgotten.
Okay, which other high life artists do you know? I'm not going to ask you about the new crop of
Samini,
artists.
of course. Samini is a wonderful.
Okay, so give me a Samini song now.
You're going to help me, then I'll finish it.
Me? You obviously don't want to show because I can't sing to save my life. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Ghanaians are getting to know you, so give us something to look forward to.
It's one of my favorite Samini songs. He sang it in a local dialect. If you can just help me start it.
You said it's one of your favorite Samini songs, and he sang it in a local dialect.
Yes.
If Samini is watching you right now, he'll be eager to...
I'm even disappointed in myself already.
So you don't remember the Samini song?
Yeah.
Should I give you beats? Boy. Are you sure you listen to Samini?
I listen to Samini.
And you don't know Billy Nana?
No, I don't know. No. Okay, yeah. Nana, yeah.
So that's it?
No, that's not it. There's one particular...
Okay, let me leave. let's forget because Amachi Dede, you didn't remember the lyrics. Okay. Samini, you couldn't remember the lyrics. Okay, now I'll just throw it to you. Maybe Daddy Lumba. You know Daddy Lumba?
No, Daddy Lumba, the man who never gets old.
Yeah, Evergreen Daddy Lumba.
Yeah, I know.
You know any of his songs?
The songs are always sounding alike for me. That's the problem.
If you say this, Daddy Lumba will come at you. Okay, so now I'm throwing the ball to you. Your favorite Ghanaian artist. Not somebody you featured, not somebody you want to feature. You have to sing a Ghanaian song, chorus, now elevated.
The Ghanaian...
Any Ghanaian song, chorus.
Current or old?
Choose. I've given the old ones I've given you couldn't do, so choose.
Why is everything just keeping in my head right now?
Everything is going.
Yeah, everything is going. That's the point.
Any Ghanaian song, chorus, any Ghanaian song.
Ayo. All these songs come off my head. No, you need to help me now.
Right. We're going to take a break and listen to watch a video.
No, I'm going to come back.
It's called. Oh, you have to come back on this one. Yeah, you've lost the battle.
I'm going to come
We're
back.
going to listen to a song and watch a video called Morning, and that's coming right up on your screens now.
Ah.
Oh no. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
Ghanaians, new music, new singles, an elevator concert. What's up?
Yeah, there's all of that in the works, like working on a whole lot.
Sure.
I and my team especially, like we're planning to make a concert and make it happen every December or something, but we want to take our time to plan for it. And apart from that, there are more videos, more features that will be coming up.
Okay, so who would you consider your musical legend? It could be an African musician, or it could be from the any other continent, but who would you consider your musical legend?
I think I'll start from Fela.
Be careful who you mention, because you might be, you might get to do a chorus. So yeah,
okay.
so
Fela, Two-Face.
Okay.
Like I grew up listening to Two-Face
listening
more, so it's more
to
of like a living legend.
If I ask you to do a Two-Face song right now, you tell me that you've forgotten all the lyrics.
No, I'm not supposed to forget lyrics.
So should I put you on the spot for Two-Face?
Okay.
There you go. There you go. So let's say you do something from Two-Face. You didn't do any Ghana song.
I'll do
a Nigeria song.
I'll do a Ghana song.
Yeah, scratching your head.
No,
do a Nigerian song.
I'll do a Ghana song. I've thought of one.
Because if you don't do a Ghana song before we leave here, all my Ghanaians want to follow you because you don't know any Ghana song.
You are right. I have to do a Ghana song.
So you do the Nigerian song.
If you say not just me, I'll be living like I don't care. Leave my life unto nobody.
So you see, because it's Two-Face, you're able to do the song. So when you came to Ghana, but you're here doing music in Ghana, you don't know any Ghana
when you
song.
told me, you said local dialect, you're telling me back. I've taken my time.
Okay, so do a Kofi Kinata song. Do you know Kofi Kinata?
I know Kofi Kinata.
Do a Kofi Kinata chorus. One line.
Why don't you just help me and start one? Then I'll complete for you.
You are the artist. You are the one who do music. Guess what? I get to ask you questions.
That's the sports right here.
So yeah, Any Kofi Kinata song? See, you've not been able to sing any Ghanaian song. Not a chorus.
There are a lot of Ghanaian songs in my head.
It's in your head, but I can't come out.
Yes.
Do you know any Shatawale song?
Abba, Shatawale. I know Shatawale song.
Okay, so my producer says I should let you off the hook, so I'm going to let you off the hook. Okay. So, like I said, what's in the pipeline? How exactly do you use social media to help your brand?
Yeah, I use social media to majorly pitch most of my works. Okay, like the music thing, basically, arts and all that. Just connect with people that I even meet. Some of them I get to meet them personally. Some diaspora, like just keep in touch with people.
Basically, social media is a big tool for your brand.
It's a big tool. A big tool.
Okay. So when you're not in the studios, when you're not recording, when you're not singing, what do you do? What do you do?
When I'm not recording.
When you're not doing music, what do you do?
When I'm not doing music, basically, I'm just on the streets with friends, hanging out, and I'm into also like bringing in cars.
Okay, so you have some sort of side business.
Yes, side
and
business.
How about the personal side? I don't see a ring. So what's happening on the personal side? Should the ladies send in the applications? Are you single? Are you searching? Are you married? What's happening there?
I'm not single.
Okay.
I'm not married.
You're not single and you're not married. Are you searching?
I'm not searching.
Okay, so case closed on this side.
Yeah.
Right, Elevated. Final words before we let you go, and then social media handles. And then
Okay. I think it's really great. It's been years for me in Ghana. Like officially 4 or 5 years doing my music thing.
4 or 5 years?
Yes, doing professionally here, officially my music. And it's been great. And I just want to put an advice there to whoever it is that is rising, upcoming, underground. If you have 999 million reasons to stop, always remind yourself why you started in the first place.
And that's enough to keep you going.
Yeah.
Where do we find you on social media? What are your handles?
On IG is Elevated Official 6.
Elevated Official 6.
On Twitter, I am Elevated 6. I'm Elevated 6 on Twitter, Elevated Dandy on Facebook, Elevated Official 6 on Instagram.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for passing through. We are wishing you success. Are there any collaborations in the pipeline?
Yes, the collaborations in the pipeline.
Okay. Care to mention them?
No, I won't mention them till it's official and it's sealed, kind of.
Right. We'll be looking forward to more music from the Elevated camp. Thank you for passing. Thank you for passing.
Thank you so much for having me.
And so we've been spending the last part of our breakfast table with Elevated, and look for him on all social media handles at Elevated Official 6 on all social media handles, and share his music and share his stuff. Even though he couldn't sing any Ghanaian song, hey, we still welcome everybody like that. Hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. We'll take a break.
Future looking good, no be liar, they see your lights. Here say, no time in the morning.
This is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show. Coming live from the
Good morning, my neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast. Not just any breakfast. Sizzling healthy. A la carte.
Yeah, all the time.
All right, guys.
Okay, let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at
I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style?
On-site restaurant.
Complimentary breakfast?
Off of your plate chicken vegetables.
So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what is written on the back?
Yes, definitely.
Where's the camera?
Just stand and turn. So what's your pleasure, Dan Botras, yeah? At that time of the morning. So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. We've got you covered with a trusted team.
All I want from Christmas is you and your eyeballs and your ears so you can watch and you can listen to the show. GTV Breakfast. Your messages on 055-556-1034. This is a command. Kafui, read my message. Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it. Violence this morning. Kafui, from Ho, Della from Ho, a nursing practitioner. Please, please, Ghanaians must know by law vaccination is never mandatory, it's by choice. And they should stop threatening citizens. They should use the reserve cash to even entice citizens as they use our insurance packages meant for covering infected staffs for other things. Kafui, read my message. I've read it. Okay? I've read it. Don't threaten me, I beg you. I don't respond to threats. But this one there, I just had to. And this one is just fine money. Okay, it's a nice message. Fine money. The morning is fine. Thank you. All right. Abdul Rahman. Please, this kind of messages, this is the surest way for us not to read the message. It's so long. It's like a thesis. Keep it short. 2-3 sentences. It's too long. So I'll just acknowledge you, but I can't read it. It's just too long. Okay. There's more. Good morning, everyone. What's the message? You guys are very interesting. Can you be allowed to travel with the small cards given when you vaccinate? Well, those cards, I'm sure they'll check the information on the cards and make sure that it tallies with what is in the database. I read last week of some guy who tried to put a fake arm on over his arm to get the vaccination. You see the lengths to which people are going. He got a fake arm, put it over his arm, and then tried to get the vaccination into the fake arm, and he was found out. I can see a lot of people trying to be very smart with these things, so be very careful. Daniel from Derma says vaccination shouldn't be by force, but rather keep on educating and encouraging people to take vaccines because the virus is real. People should stay away from that. God will protect. If you get the virus and you're not fortunate, you die. Yeah, okay, thank you very much, Daniel from Derma. Not a single day passes by without watching you guys. You're too much. We know. Keep watching. You two are too much. You two are too much. Please wish my twins, Irene and Iris Montfort, a glorious happy birthday. I'll sing for them even. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Irene and Iris. Happy birthday to you. Hip, 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 hip. All right, so you got a song. My people, good morning. Good work done. I'm always in front of my TV. Afishapao Alex Ishan, formerly with Camp 5. Oh, thank you so much. Sylvester Osman, this vaccine thing is a big story. I think more education should rather be given to the citizens concerning the vaccination and not letting it be compulsory. Why do they give us compulsory food? You guys, you Africans and the I love it. More education should be given. More TUC. The information being spread about non-vaccinated spreading COVID is not true. Vaccinated people can't spread it. That is why they still have to follow protocols. Why make the unvaccinated the enemy? Valerie is looking at me, but not like an enemy, like a good friend. Okay, we'll be going to her pretty soon. What else? Those are my messages. I'm sounding like Sarkodina. What else? All right, what else? It's a happy Christmas to you in 11 days' time. Okay, today's the 14th. Today's International Monkey Day. So when you go home, go and watch a monkey movie. You know, Shifu. I killed my father. Now you fight. We die. Those kind of Chinese movies. We love them. Snake in the Monkey Shadow, King Kong, Planet of the Apes, Kung Fu. Yeah, all of them. All right. I'm going to switch over back to the ladies. I believe the ladies are waiting for me. And so if the ladies are waiting for me, there they are doing their own thing there. There they are. Ladies, over to you.
Your glasses are awesome.
My glasses are great, eh?
Awesome
I did
glasses.
catch fans from.
My mom has a pair just like that, and I'll borrow them and bring them tomorrow.
No, you know,
Mommy, if you
Charlie,
can't find your Christmas glasses, you know where it went.
Producer, split the screen so they can see what you're talking about, my brother. Yeah, my glasses, I don't feel them. I only wear them after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes. When the warmer side comes.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Really?
Yes, I'm loving it. Charlie, what do you like?
Red glasses.
My highlight today was the keep an eye at the Jufo Jano.
Tuesday market.
Yeah.
You can trust my people to bring the theatrics.
How many locals can you say to be serious?
I had a friend in secondary school once who said, "Oh, I love girls, but once they start their kwe, you have to find something."
It's not just the kwe when they start. When a girl woman begins to say, "Papa." Papa, Papa, or the man starts to say, Mommy. That's where you know that they've chosen violence.
Oh, okay. So I should watch out for that. When I hear Papa, then you know you're in trouble.
Not just Papa.
It means it's boiling over.
Papa.
Yeah, you see it rising.
And it's rising.
Then you know that's yes. And then when it's the man and he's just saying, Mommy.
And
then when it's an adult saying, Kwe. Then you know that they're about to choose violence. So, yeah.
So I've heard some deep questions before. Kwe.
Is it kwe?
Then you know, Charlie. Greeting all the Maigan people, everybody. I love
we love them. Tuesday market, I have great memories. There's this Fetridechi woman who used to be right in the center of the market. So my mom, good morning, Auntie Teresa. My mom would take us to the Tuesday market to do our regular shopping. We usually cooked on Tuesdays because that was the closest market to us at the time. Right. And we'll go and eat that akple and Fetridechi before we even started shopping, buying everything else. And we shop from everything from Obroni Wawu to slippers.
Everything for the same place.
Hey, my mom, no a chef. She's still a chef.
Yes,
nice. What a show we've had.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the elevator. I like that vibe.
Yeah, I like the elevator too. But he couldn't mention he couldn't sing any Ghanaian songs.
Sing Ghanaian songs.
I would give him for that.
I'm sorry,
sing High Life.
If I were an artist, I'll be afraid to come and sit on Valerie's couch. Because she doesn't only tension guests, but even our own people, Jay and Alan, she'll put you on the spot. All the time. You know, one day we'll put her on the spot herself.
No.
Valerie, I want to put you on the spot right now.
This man will step out of the studio.
Music.
Pardon?
Sing one piece of music from a Nigerian artist, Valerie.
See, everybody knows that I can't sing to save my life. But Johnny Drill, man, you should listen to Johnny Drill.
Sing Johnny Drill for me. Sing Johnny Drill for me.
I should sing for you.
Yes.
Paul, give me Johnny Drill song.
You see how it is,
now she knows how that is.
Yeah, when the cameras are on you and they say action, But when you're on the hot seat, it's quite different.
You get in character. Yeah. They say action, get in character.
Maybe so. Tell me, why were you away? You been away for Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
Because people kept sending messages. I read some of them and I followed up. Thank you for your concern. I had to attend to urgent family business.
Okay.
There was a death in the family. I was over the weekend.
All right.
So that's where I was.
So you came. But sorry, our condolences.
I'm back.
Condolences.
No more deaths.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Sincere condolences. We're glad to see you back with the nice, sexy voice.
So this is my stressed out voice, but it's getting there. Don't
get better.
All right. So people, listen, follow them on for all of us on social media. Just go to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Look for Valerie Dance. So look for Thelma Taki. You'll see us. Follow us, right? And then if the content is great, share it. All right. If you enjoyed it, share it with the rest of the world. Merry Christmas to you. 11 days to Christmas. I'm enjoying my glasses. Bye bye. See you. No problem today.
Bye. Bye.
Our proverb is keep following us.
See you tomorrow at 6.